Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated public sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call it truth. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, January 4th. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Our first Betting with the Bag of 2023. Great to see all of you guys. Gary Tenebra in the houses. How about them Sabres? Viper MB says, what up, fam? Let's get this cash. That's back in the office at work, but this show will help me get through the day. Fap win in the house. Radford, team total over 73.5 for our guy Fap. That's at minus 104 or plus or $1.96 on the, or I guess that would be what would that decimal be? God, I'm sorry. Late night with football last night. And then we have a huge card today. Also, very exciting, LJ from H-Town back in action with us, breaking down this huge NBA card. I'm excited to watch him work. We start with 3 games in NHL. Let me copy and paste. Fap wins action here. Lock it in. We have 10 games in college basketball that we have selected to cap with Dabby Cap. That's how we're going to close out the show. 35-20. Smaller sample size than usual, but lighting up and smoking NCAA basketball, which is a good thing because NBA has hurt me badly. NHL, we've climbed out of the hole that we dug ourselves in the beginning of the year, now looking pretty good. There's Nuke Worker, Real Deal Prime. Nuke Works is one thing I've learned since retirement is I never know what day it is. It's okay. It's okay. You just got to know how big your bankroll is. And that it's growing. Those are the most important things. Serious business. Clint started the Die Hard MMA podcast. We have great group ready to get to work bright and early. Chris Drobny coming off a 5-1 day. And Clint saying Vimelka cost me a winning night with 32 saves, lost by the damn hook. Jay Peasy in the house. Happy New Year, Jay Peasy. 2 for 3 yesterday, says Stars let me and their fathers down last night. They did. Big show picks in the house. A little A ready to go. Danny Lopez, Rocco Rogers, Bananas and Grapes. Lucas Ryan says, let's go Blues. How about that plus money? That was a big win. Slatsy 45 says, good morning. Today's useless trends. Bolts 1-10 last 11 meetings in Minnesota. I'm on the Wild. I'm interested in that game. As well. Clint says MMA back next week. Says he needs it. There's Mike M. Started a pimp slap play of the day in the house. Well, we have 3 games in the NHL. I'm now 46-43, 51.7%, but the average line of plus 104 gives us plus 4.7 units, and ROI plus 5.28%. And I'm excited. Let me make sure that I've got everything up and Adam live odds. There we go. We're not going to look at those in NHL. We know that. I only made one bet last night on the NFL card. Just one. Titans plus 6.5. I came very close to betting the Chargers, but how can you bet the Chargers? I mean, I guess I didn't come close. How can you bet the Chargers until you know what happens in the Ravens game? So it's really easy. If the Ravens win, we hammer the Chargers. If the Ravens lose, definitely don't bet the Chargers. They have no need to win. You could fade them if you'd like, but that's of enormous importance. And with all the moving parts, I just wanted more time with the rest of the cards. So there's only one bet for me. I know I did put the link on Twitter. I was a little late. There's a ton of games here to cap. So I was a couple minutes late, and I don't know why it didn't come up on YouTube. I can't help with that. I don't know why it doesn't come up on YouTube. But I'm sad to hear that, Dan, and I'm happy that you found it. There's Wine Time Sports, Jay Stone. Okay, so let's get to work here. We start in the National Hockey League. Let me make sure I got my odds set up here. Let's get to work. And I will soon be back on Tuesdays with Pistol Pete Loshak. I miss the Tuesday NHL card. Let's start here right off the hop. 7 p.m. Eastern. New Jersey Devils 23-11-3, 13-2-1 on the road at the Detroit Red Wings, 16-12-7, 9-6-3 at home. We're at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Take a look at the line history here. Detroit opening up at plus 127. They're now at plus 137. A 10-cent move towards the visiting Devils. This total opening up at 6.5. There's been a 5-cent move to the under. The big question here is, TJ with the gift of the day. I'm very excited. The important thing here is Ville Husso. Is Husso sick? Is he better? Will he be in the lineup? No more Nedeljkovic. I was right about him. He's now not even their backup goaltender. So it'll be Magnus Hellberg who will be the backup, or is the backup, and will be in the lineup if Husso is not available because of sickness. Vanacek on the other side, 13-5-2, 2.38 goals against average, 9-11 save percentage, 2 shutouts. The 10-cent move towards the Devils is telling me that Husso is not available. That needs to be confirmed. And Husso confirmed. Okay, there we go, Slatsy. Thank you for that. And TJ has Wings Devils under 6.5. Look at that as his gift. What is the record of the gift now? I know it's spectacular. Let me pop this in here. Get this right here. All right, let's take a look at what that total has done. Opened up at 6.5, a 5-cent move. So it's at minus 107 now to the under 6.5. Interesting. Devils power play 19.1%, penalty killing at 82.5%. Detroit power play 20.5%, penalty killing at 77.6%. Devils come in off their third loss in 4 games, 5-4 at home in a shootout to the Hurricanes on Sunday. This is the first season that Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier have both been healthy. I know we're very close to the halfway mark, but this is the first time we've seen it, and they're both playing great hockey. Thomas Tatar turns out to be that perfect winger, for Hischier and Jesper Bratt. He gives them accountability and defensive awareness. Tatar leads the team at plus 20. They have 2 very strong forward lines and should only get stronger when Palat comes back from injury. The Red Wings coming off their third win in 4 games, 4-2 over Ottawa at home on Saturday night. They're playing good hockey. Tyler Bertuzzi still dealing with a hand injury. He's not expected back until the end of the week, but Philip Hronek has been a revelation. Kubalik, Perron, and Kopp were excellent additions by Stevie Y. And 14-2 is the record of the gift. TJ says Wings play tighter at home. Devils play tighter on the road. I think there's truth to all of that. Let's just take a quick look here. I also wanted to talk. We are at the point now. The All-Star break is coming up. I just want to talk about what teams with the LTIR have salary cap cash available and are building salary cap for the trade deadline, just to get a heads up on what kind of futures we might be interested in, what teams we want to watch, knowing that they're going to reload at the trade deadline. So I have that all set up for us. But let's move over to the last few games for both of these squads here. I think it's crucial to have Husso in net. He's been confirmed. So let's just take a look. Tighter on the road. These Devils have won their last 2 road games. We cashed on them on Friday against Pittsburgh. They won 4-2 there. They allowed, again, Florida and Pittsburgh, 2 offensive juggernauts, just 2 goals each. And then you look at Detroit. They have that 7-4 win at Tampa. That was high scoring, but then they beat Ottawa 4-2. Let's take a look at a couple more home games from them here. So the home game before that, 6-3 loss to Ottawa, then 1-0 Carolina. That was much better. 4-1 Las Vegas. Yeah, I like it. There's Stimmy OG in the house. I'm interested in your under 6.5. I'm going to take a little bit more time on it, but it certainly interests me. So TJ has given us the under 6.5 as his gift play of the day. Nut Flush Allen back from his New Year's trip in Vegas. It looked incredible. The pictures made it look incredible. All right, let's move on. Next game for us on the board, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Tampa Bay Lightning, 24-11-1, 9-7-0 on the road at Minnesota Wild, 21-13-2, 11-7-1 at home. Xcel Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. We already got an interesting trend from our Slatsy. Bolts are 1-10 in their last 11 meetings in Minnesota. We're at the Xcel Energy Center, St. Paul, Minnesota. Andrei Vasilevsky, 69-1, 2.42 goals against average, 9.21 save percentage. Going up against Philip Gustafsson, 8-5-1, 2.34 goals against average, 9.20 save percentage, and 1 shutout. Tampa Bay, 27.6% power play, 82.2% penalty killing. Minnesota, 23.3% power play and 79.7% penalty killing. Take a look at the line history here in this one. Now, the main pieces of the scheduling puzzle is the Lightning are on the second half of a back-to-back. They've won their fourth straight game last night, 4-1 at Chicago. Then we have the Wild with a major rest advantage. They haven't played since their second win over their last 3 games, 5-2 at the Blues back on Saturday night, which was New Year's Eve. So let's take a look at this. Has there been a move towards the Wild? There is not. A 2-cent move towards the Lightning. The initial move did go towards Minnesota. From a total side of things, this opened up at 6 and is now up to 6.5. This might be a little surprising. Sean Pulliam, RVD, ready to get to work. MDR 24, great to see you. So let's break this down a little more. First off, Brandon Hagel has taken the next step. He's been so good this year. 15 goals, 15 assists, 30 points in 36 games played. He leads the Lightning at plus 13. A 6th-round pick in the 2016 draft. I also want to talk about Jared Spurgeon because he's been phenomenal on defense for the Wild. Another 6th-round draft pick. But Hagel, out of the Red Deer Rebels, he is so valuable. I don't know if there's anything more valuable in today's NHL than a Brandon Hagel, leading your team in plus minus, 30 points in 36 games, and he's being paid $1.5 million a year. And he's not a free agent till after 2023-24. So then you got to think, how did Julien Brisebois get him? I mean, how could the Chicago Blackhawks get rid of somebody who's this valuable? And this is what Brisebois said at the trade. The trade was made March 18th, 2022. We're adding a 23-year-old player that is super competitive, can play in all situations, can play with all different types of players. We got to see him play a lot last year when Chicago was in our division, the Central Division. Remember, the COVID messed up here. We noticed again how competitive he is and the consistency in his effort every shift. And obviously, we've seen a growth in his play. That was, of course, I guess we're talking 2 years ago in the COVID year, but I digress. We feel he not only improves our chances of winning a championship this season, but for the next 2 seasons because he's under contract for 2 more years. And in terms of his contract, are providing the club with really good value. How stupid are the Chicago Blackhawks? I mean, I just don't understand the moves that they've made. They're not setting themselves up for success in the future. They're just digging a bigger hole and a bigger hole and a bigger hole. Kucherov's been spectacular. He's going to clear 100 points easily this year. 13 goals, 40 assists, 53 points in 36 games. Stamkos, 17 goals, 25 assists, 42 points. Braden Point, 21 goals, 17 assists, and 38 points. I do want to stress, though, and we're going to talk when we talk about the amount of money available in the salary caps for these teams, that this is as good as the Lightning are going to be. I don't see them being any better. They're completely healthy. That probably won't continue. And look, they're a very good hockey team right now, but we're going to see other teams get much better come playoff time. And I think the Lightning have sort of peaked, and we know how many games they played this year, last 3-4 years with their runs to the Stanley Cup final. So, and there's our guy Coin, says back home in Vegas after spending New Year's in Brazil. God, that sounds incredible. There's Nuke Worker Alec. Great to see you, Alec. Alex Hills. Sean says mini spot full game. I agree. I would like to see the market moving towards them. Let's talk about the Wild with their major rest advantage. Again, they haven't played since New Year's Eve. Kaprizov and Zuccarello being so good. I did want to talk a little bit about Jared Spurgeon. They're so lucky they have him. He's so dependable. He's so accountable. He's played his entire career in Minnesota. He's a plus 19. No one else in the squad is better than a plus 8. Every team needs a guy like Jared Spurgeon on their hockey team. So the question is, will the Wild continue this trend of success here against the Tampa Bay Lightning? And I certainly wouldn't want to bet against it. If I was going to bet against it, I would bet on the Lightning first period, thinking that the Minnesota Wild could come out sloppy. That's a legitimate possibility here. But you'd have to think that the Wild will take over at some point with their fresh legs. Very, very interesting. I'm going to put the Wild as a possibility right now, and also the Lightning first period I have some interest in as well. TJ says their back-to-back results point me to Tampa Bay team total under or Minnesota money line. I feel like Minnesota money line is what makes the most sense here, but I just don't know how they're going to be early. But Gustafsson has been the best Minnesota Wild goaltender this year. Don't look now, but Vasilevsky is back to his old tricks. He looks phenomenal in net again. Swiss Horton in the house says the Lightning were spotted eating Mickey's Diner across the Xcel Energy Center. They're not going to feel good later, says Swiss Horton, our guy, Swiss Horton. Looking forward to hear what Swiss Horton play of the day is. TJ says that 6.5 seems high here too. Well, this is all. I feel like the Wild are the play. I would like to see some sign from the books that they're concerned about the Wild action. Let's just take a look at how much money is in on this game, if any. At this point, they've given the Devils full line value, by the way, at Sports Insights. Here, there's just not enough tickets, I guess, to concern anybody. But the more, 42% of the money line tickets are on the Lightning and 55% of the cash. The Lightning have won 4 straight. They're playing good hockey right now. I am hesitant to fade them. I don't want to go up against the trend, but I feel like they're locked in right now and healthy, and that they're probably live first period. Slatsy said this 1,000 times. Hawks saying they're on the rebuild and trade 21-year-old third pick overall Kirby Dach and 24-year-old DeBrincat, who is a 40-goal scorer. What a joke. I'm not that high on DeBrincat, but Dach, we don't know how good he could be. That was a mistake. And then Hagel was just a gift to a Tampa Bay Lightning team that does not need the gift. I guess I'm going to need a little bit more time. There was not a play in NHL that jumped out at me, and I thought that the Wild made the most sense. There's Jimmy Gomez in the house, but I'm a little hesitant to fade the Lightning right now. I don't think that's something I would choose to do. I'm not sure. Just so you guys know the streak we are on right now in NHL, I've cashed 8, 10, 11, 12, 14. I'm 16-5 over my last 21 bets in NHL. So we've gotten hot. And I'm hesitant to go up against the Lightning. And in fact, the thing that appeals to me most right now is probably the Lightning first period. You have the Wild coming off a spot. Oh, and TJ says Circa just moved the under 6.5 in Detroit to minus 115. Wow. I think you're definitely on something, TJ. Huh. You have the Wild playing on New Year's Eve, going out, getting drunk, not playing a game until now. All right. Okay. Slatsy says, are you concerned about your Wild future? I was going over the standings last night. I guess I was concerned when I found out how much money that they had available. Because we know that they have the $10 million disadvantage with Suter and Parise being cut. and it balloons to 14 million. So I guess I wasn't scared looking at their record, as I'm on the under 99.5 points for them on season. I got nervous when I looked at how much money they had available. Let's move on to the final game and then talk a little bit salary cap, and then we will move on. I guess I'm not nearly as confident as I was, knowing that they can add pieces at the deadline, because we know what Kaprizov is. He's a phenomenal player. He's an elite player, certainly a top 10 player in the league, and probably better than that. Zuccarello's a nice fit with him. Joel Eriksson-Ek is looking like a complete player now. He always had the defensive side, the accountability, the size, but if he's able to make the right reads offensively, then he's a really dangerous player. Nufflejon says you're sniffing a Tampa Bay team total over. I'm leaning towards a Lightning first period coming in sharp here, and then the Wild taking over. But I'm not sure if I'm going to pull the trigger. But right now, I think TJ's look on that under 6.5 makes sense, and I'm leaning towards Lightning first period. Let's talk about the final game on the board, 10 p.m. Eastern. Dallas Stars 23-9-6, 12-5-3 on the road to Anaheim Ducks, 10-24-4, 6-10-1 at home at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California. We have Scott Wedgwood, the Wedge Wall, listed. 6-4-3, 3.03 goals against average, 910 save percentage. Against John Gibson, 6-16-3, 3.98 goals against average, 897 save percentage. Dallas power play at 28.8%, and it's just these guys are just going to be juggernauts for a while. When you get a guy like Jason Robertson and Rupi Hintz, and you have a Pavelski for them to play with, and then all of a sudden Jamie Benn is having a year, 15 goals, 21 assists, 36 points in 39 games played. He's a plus 12. So you have this spectacular forward line that doesn't include your captain, Jamie Benn. Then you have Heiskanen playing 25 minutes and 17 seconds a game, 30 points in 36 games, playing a Norris Trophy caliber game. You pick up Mason Marchment. Mason Marchment was such a big pickup. We talk about the mistakes that the Dubas regime has made. And the Mason Marchment trade is the worst trade that he has made in his career. They traded Marchment for Dennis Malgin. Can you imagine not respecting a 6'4", 220-pound son of one of the toughest guys in NHL history? Maybe I'm saying maybe Brian Marchment is not the toughest guy. He's one of the toughest guys in it, but extremely tough guy who died last year at 53. It's sad that he died, but can you imagine that you wouldn't respect that? A team that's so soft like the Leafs, you trade away Mason Marchment for Dennis Malgin. I mean, that's just when these executives don't respect size, I want them to get beaten up so they have a better understanding of what size does to them. I'd like Dubas to get his ass fucking kicked. And then maybe he'll have a little bit more respect for toughness. That Dubas, that little fucking bitch. I don't want the Leafs to be good. I don't want them to be good. But that forward group, the nucleus of that forward group is spectacular. And what they need is a Mason Marchment with speed. Mason Marchment's almost a point a game at 6'4", 220. It's just unbelievable that Dubas could be such an ass clown. The Ducks come in off their second straight loss and fifth in 6 games, 4-1 at home versus the Flyers on Monday night. They've been outscored 10-2 over their last 2 games. Trevor Zegras, I don't know if the losing is difficult for him, but he's certainly not taking the next step that he's looking for. And I thought Klingberg probably was going to be a nice fit in a Ducks uniform. He's a minus 23 in 31 games. He looks terrible. I think that with the Stars coming off a loss, they're on the second half of a back-to-back, but you have to think coming off a loss that this is probably a decent price. Opening up minus 195, now getting them at minus 209. Probably a decent price. JP just says Stars no travel. They need to get their dad's respect back. Chris Drobny liking Dallas on the minus 1.5 line. I think that that the Stars are probably a really nice price here. The Ducks just look awful. And you have the Stars with their dads coming off losing a game with no travel, playing poorly. How bad? Let's just quickly. I just want to take one quick look. We're going to be getting into NBA here shortly, but let's just take a quick look at exactly how bad that was last night here. Move over here because we're probably getting a discount on the Stars. And you guys have seen me. I backed the Ducks first period, and I backed the Ducks at times this year. And this Stars team was rolling before the break. 30 shots on goal, 39 hits, lose the face-off battle. I think that the Stars are probably live here. I think they're probably live here. TJ saying, I don't know this team well and how they will respond. Northander says the Stars are up to minus 225 on Bet365. So you have to take them on the buck line, which I think is probably fine. I just, the Ducks are playing so bad right now. And then you got to think about what sort of teams that they'll be able to succeed against. Not an angry group coming off a loss. The -1 line would be expensive. Let's just see how much it is here. If anybody needs a -1 calculator, let me know. So that would be a minus 225 and a plus 120. -1 line would be minus 148. God, I don't know if I can pay that. I think that the Stars take care of business. I don't mind Wedgwood at all. I don't mind him at all. Yeah, TJ says if you're on Dallas, you really have to go puck line. I think that's the move to make here. So I think when it's all said and done, I move on 3 spots here. I think I move on the under 6.5 and Wings Devils. I move on the Lightning first period. And I move on the Stars -1.5. So that's my plan. I actually came in not knowing if I was going to move it all on this card, but I think there's a spot on each game that's worth it. So I think I'll be rolling on those 3 spots here. We're going to move into NHL here, but I'd like to touch on the situation with current cap space. So first off, the LTIR is helping teams as we speak. I thought the Oilers with the LTIR were going to be in a better spot with Kane being out, but it's just slowly building. They had no projected cap space. They now just have $1.592 million. The thing that really alarmed me was Minnesota's cap space, $6.964 million. That really concerns me. Rangers have $2.991 million. That's very, very helpful if they want to make a move for Patrick Kane. When you want to talk about who has no cap space, who is in big trouble, it is the Stars and the Bruins. The Bruins have the least amount of cap space, and the Lightning. The Bruins and the Lightning at this point could have peaked. We're going to see other teams have weapons added to them come the trade deadline. And it is legitimate to think that they could have peaked here. The Leafs, who were in such horrific cap situation, now have 1.885 mil. The Panthers have 3.1. The Hurricanes, coming off that huge winning streak, they have $7.76 million of cap space. They could pick up Kane. And if I was Kane, I would look at that team and think, oh God, that's a perfect fit for me. I know that nobody dreams of putting on a Carolina Hurricane jersey, but he just wants glory, and maybe that would be the perfect situation for him to get that glory. The Blues have 5.8 million. The Devils have 6.4 million. The Pens have 2.6 million. So these teams are going to be buyers at the deadline. The Kings 2.3, the Flames 2.6. I thought the Oilers were going to have more cap space than they have right now, which they don't. Jimmy Gomez took Ducks under 2.5. Sean says Jimmy under first period, watched Dallas last night. North Ender looking at the Stars in regulation at -125. Slatsy Stars team total over 3.5 at -115. And Jimmy Gomez says, I'd like to look to isolate the team total on the Ducks. Stars keep opponents under 2.5, 4 of the last 5. I get it. Okay, so we're going to move on past NHL, but we're running nice right now. 16 of our last 21 in NHL, and I would really like to focus more on it, and I will. I'll be back as the football season now, regular season kind of dying down, get into the playoffs, a little bit less capping to do, and then I'll be back on Tuesdays with Pistol Pete Loshak. Also, we want to continue doing live bet streams. So I'm going to figure that out, but I'd like to do some NHL live bet streams as well as other sports. And don't forget, before we get into our big NBA card right now, don't forget we have the huge national championship college football show tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, starring Bobano, C-Mac, Ragu, and DJ Big Boss right here on Pub Sports Radio. All right, so that is NHL. So Stars -1.5. God, the Stars make me a little nervous. Bananas and Grape says Bruins win the cup. They certainly look like the best team in the NHL. Alongside, I guess, the Hurricanes right now. But what I just talked about is crucial to our finding value on teams. If you really believe in a team like the Hurricanes that are sitting with 7.6 milli in cap space, I mean, you gotta think, oh shit, they're gonna add. AOD, I love you, my man. That is NHL. So let's, I wonder if the Stars first period -0.5 is a better look than the -1.5. Let's just take a look at what that plus money is, because they are on the second half of a back-to-back. They did go out with their fathers last night. They probably had that breakfast with their dads. I mean, although that will inspire them, it probably does not let them sleep as much as maybe they would like to be. Let's just see what that first period -0.5 is. Plus 145. There's razor sharp picks in the house. I'm going to have to decide how I'm going to handle it here. Lucas Ryan, I'd have to study it more. I'd have to study it more right now. I'd need to have all the numbers in front of me to give a fair. I don't want to just do that off the top of my head right now. I just feel like that's not. It's just not responsible. Real Deal Prime says Carolina is the number one ranked as a team in the few NHL stats. Look, what they've done over the last little while has been extremely impressive. They don't have much depth. Real Deal Prime does think that Yomar for Vezina worth a small bit. What's the number you're getting? I'd love to know that. All right, let's move on to NBA. I'm very excited to have the opportunity to cap this giant card with your next guest. We don't have him here on Betting with the Bag enough. I get to hammer live streams with him often, and great capper, great friend of our show. Also, we need to have, and I've talked to Jose about this, but we need to get that the track that our next guest dropped for us. We need to have it ready to go here so we can play it for when he jumps on the shows with us. Also, Jose, it is 2023. So we are opening up a new page, a new spreadsheet for your Say Hey Plays of the Day. So don't forget, we need one today. But let's bring on your next guest coming to us from Houston, Texas, LJ from H-Town. LJ, how are you, my man?
What's going on, Jimmy? Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to the chat. I'm so happy to be off today so I can break down this entire NBA card with you, Jimmy. So let's get to work. We got a lot of games to go through. So
we do. This is a huge NBA card. Let me move everything over here so that we're all set up here. Let's get rid of the salary cap information and move this over to NBA. This is going to be fun. A huge card awaits right now. Let's get to work. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. By the way, razor sharp picks on a Tampa Bay pick 5 right there. $96. Tampa Bay pick 5 says starts in less than an hour. Anybody looking to make some moves with the Thoroughbreds razor all over it. All right, let's get to work. Grizzlies 23-13, 8-10 on the road at the Charlotte Hornets, 10-28, 5-13 at home. We're at Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Memphis 3-2 over the past 5, playing at the pace of 102.5 possessions a game. Excuse me. While Charlotte 1-4, playing at the pace at 104.6 possessions a game. A very quick pace for the Hornets. How's that going to change with Kelly Oubre out of the lineup for the next month? Also, Gordon Hayward left Monday's game with hamstring soreness, so you have to think that he's probably unavailable here. Charlotte looking exceedingly vulnerable in this spot. Opening up at +7 at Pinnacle, they're now +8. This total opening up at 234 has moved up to 236. Grizzlies coming off their third straight win, 118-108 at home for Sacramento on Sunday. Ja goes for 35. That's his 5th game of 30 or more in his last 7 outings. In the last 9 wins, the Grizzlies haven't allowed more than 108 points. So you have them playing better defensively and Ja going off. The Hornets coming off their 2nd straight loss, 4th over the last 5 games. They've lost 7 of their last 8 at home. Take it away for us, LJ. First game on the board, Grizzlies, Hornets.
Yes, Jimmy, you mentioned Charlotte is in a very, very vulnerable situation in this game. Memphis, they are 12-3 versus the East. And also, they are averaging 120 points in the last 4 road games versus the East when Ja plays. Now, they're 15-5 straight up in their last 20 in the first half. So that's going to be my play. Memphis -4 first half, because Charlotte is a -10 point differential in the first half in their last 3 games. They're -5 in the first half at home on the season. And they're only 3-16-1 straight up in their last 20 first halves. So I do believe Memphis is going to jump on these guys early. Ja has been playing well, as you just mentioned. He's had 30+, 5 out of his last 7 games. He's also been distributing the ball, 9+ assists, 5 out of his last 7 games. So Ja has been on a tear. He had 11 assists in the last game that they played versus Charlotte. So I do believe that this will be a consistent thing for Memphis going on throughout the season. He already put it out there that he's not worried about nobody in the Western Conference. He said they are the team to beat. So everybody's going to have a bullseye on Memphis now. But I do believe they will handle business in this game. The last game that they played Memphis, they shot 44% from 3. They had 18 offensive rebounds on Charlotte. So Charlotte, they're very vulnerable, like we just said. Charlotte allows the 3rd most points in the NBA at 118. They allow the 2nd most rebounds at home, and they allow the most blocks on the NBA, which is 6. Now, that correlates to one of my props that I'm going to take, but I don't see it out yet. We're going to go with Jared Jackson over 2.5 blocks. I don't have it yet because the props aren't out, but I will tweet it out later so you can add it to my record for this show. I am going to be on that prop. But far as the side, we're all on Memphis first half -4.
Yeah. And right now, 3,447 tickets in. Tickets in. 54% of the tickets are on the Grizzlies, but 98% of the cash. 56% of the tickets and 99% of the cash on the over. Is there any fear that the Grizzlies come in a little lackadaisical against a Charlotte team that's 10-28 and 5-13 at home?
No, I don't believe so. Because when I watch Jai, he seems to turn up versus an opposing player that's, like a star on that team. So he's going against LaMelo tonight. And I do believe he's going to show out. His team is going to want to show out with him. And LaMelo is really the only key thing that they have on Charlotte. He's averaging 26 and 7, in his last 12 games, but that's all they have. They're very vulnerable on the front line. They only have Plumlee to rebound. So, and they're missing Oubre now, one of their best defenders on the perimeter. So I just believe that Memphis is going to turn up today. They're going to be ready for this game, and they're going to come out and prove a statement versus one of the vulnerable, sorriest teams in the NBA, which is the Charlotte Hornets.
It all makes sense. It all makes sense. The breakdown makes a ton of sense. Ryan Mueller in the house. Great to see all of you guys here. Dan Kelly on the other side. First half, Charlotte +4, but LJ's on the Grizzlies. First half, -4, -105. Jaren Jackson over 2.5 blocks. We'll find out what that is. And McDaniels, Washington, and Plumlee 3, 4, 5 now in Charlotte with Ball and Rozier on the 1 and 2. Kadesh, I don't have LJ's last day set up in my spreadsheet. I had the football game or I had the football show last night, and then I had all these games to cap, and I had to let go of a couple things here. So that will be up. That'll be up next time he comes on. Let's move on to the next spot on the board here. 7 p.m. Eastern. Phoenix Suns 2018 6-13 on the road at the Cleveland Cavaliers 24-14, 17-4 at home. Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. Phoenix 1-4 over the past 5, playing at a pace at 95.12 possessions a game. Slow for them. No Cameron Johnson, no Devin Booker, and that's a slow pace. Cleveland 2-3, playing at a pace at 97.96 possessions a game. That's been consistent throughout the season for them. Let's move over to the line history here for this one. Phoenix, Cleveland. We have Cleveland opening up -5. It went down to 4, but now it's at 5.5. Total wise, opened up at 219.5 and has dropped to 217.5. Take a look at the cash flow here. 77% of the tickets, 86% of the cash on the Cavs. 88% of the tickets are on the over, but just 57% of the cash. Sharp money is moving this under. And I find that quite appealing, especially when you look at the pace of these two squads and then think about what Donovan Mitchell has just gone through after putting up 71. So Suns, and Dan Kelly says, the way the Suns are playing lately, Mitchell might be able to beat them by himself. Kadesh says, pass for me, but leaning Cavs if they still aren't stargazed. Justin McElvey says, Suns auto fade on the road, at least till they get Book back. And North Ender looking at the under here as well. Suns coming off their third straight loss, 102-83 at the Knicks on Monday. So this will be the end of a 6-game road trip. They've lost 4 or 5 thus far on this road trip. And after the loss, DeAndre Ayton said, I'm not used to the no fight in us. The Suns scored 11 points in the first quarter and 31 points in the first half. All the points they scored were in garbage time. Cavs coming off their second straight win, 145-134 in overtime at home over Chicago on Monday. Mitchell joined that list of players with at least 70 points. My God. Wilt, Kobe, Elgin Baylor, David Thompson, David Robinson, Devin Booker, and now Donovan Mitchell. Take it away here for us. Is there any chance, LJ, that the Suns show a little heart after showing none on Monday?
I don't believe so. And I'm with Justin. The Suns are a complete auto fade until they get Booker back in their lineup. They're 2-6 since he's been out of that lineup. They're 0-6 on the road versus the East, which is also terrible. The last 6 games, 2-7. Last 6 games, like I said, without Booker, they're averaging 18 points in the first quarter in their last 3 games, which is dead last. 5 of the last 6 they lost 5 of their last 6 first quarters straight up in their 6 games. They're 1-4 in those games, like we just mentioned. The Phoenix allows 114 points on the road, 115 points on the road in their last 5. So all that's saying is the lack of offense for the Suns, especially in the first quarter and the first half, is going to sway us to Cleveland, which is better in the first half, as we know. They have a good ATS record in the first half. They're 5-2 at home versus the West. They're 7-4 at home, 16-4 as a home favorite, 13-61 ATS as a home favorite. And we just mentioned Donovan Mitchell coming off that spectacular form at 71 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds. That was a 90 PRA. That's only 1 point less than what Luka had, 60, 21, and 10. So he was 1 point away from tying Luka's PRA for the season at 90. But that's crazy. I do believe that I want Garland back in that lineup, though. I don't know for sure if he's going to play. But I don't like betting on teams that don't have their full roster full of games. So I'm just going to lay off the full game, even though I'm confident Cleveland can cover that 4.5. That's not a big number considering how vulnerable the Suns are right now without their key components in their lineup. But I'm just going to jump on the first quarter, considering, like I said, the Suns are horrible in the first quarter right now. 18 points in the first quarter in their last 3 games. -12 point differential in their last 3 games. So let's jump on the Cavs, -1.5, first quarter. Get in and get out, because like we say, anything can happen. The Suns could get garbage time in the second half and cover, a spread, and they could probably lose by 3. Who knows? But at the end of the day, we're going to jump on them early, catch them where they're vulnerable. Cavs, -1.5, first quarter.
-1.5. We can get you that at -108, -1.5, -108. I agree with the cappers that are looking at this under closely. It makes a ton of sense with how slow each team's pace is right now, especially Donovan coming off that spectacular game. Razor has a question for you. LJ says, do you make bets because of trends, or are those just supporting information to back the play?
Well, I cap the numbers as far as how they are in the first, like every quarter I cap as far as stats. And I also follow trends too. It's just a correlation of both. But, for me to ultimately get to my bet, both of them have to correlate for me to make a solid decision. So.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. Dan Kelly says last game of the trip means they just want to go home.
Yeah.
My play, if Phoenix has an against spread lead at halftime, he will be on Cleveland third quarter.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I like it. I'm going to move on the under. I'm a little hesitant to. I agree that the Suns are vulnerable here. The problem is, as much as they likely want to go home, they were just embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see if any heart is shown, and I'd rather watch it than bet against the heart of a team that I've seen show heart over the last couple seasons. LJ on the Cavs, first quarter -1.5, -108. I'm going to move on the under. Let's move on. Next up for a 7 p.m. Eastern, Oklahoma City Thunder, 16-21, 5-12 on the road at the Orlando Magic, 13-24, 9-11 at home at Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. Both teams 2-3 over their past 5, and both teams playing with a lot of pace. Oklahoma City playing at 104.03 possessions a game over that 5-game stanza, as is Orlando, 102.30 possessions a game. Take a look at the line history here for this one. And Orlando feeling the effects of the suspensions in this game badly, but they're still 2-point favorites here. They were opening up at 1.5, now 2-point favorites. This total opened up at 228.5. It's now at 227.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. Just 2,838 tickets in. 71% of the tickets, 89% of the cash on the Orlando Magic. Then 37% of the tickets, 87% of cash on the under. Big bets have come in on the under. It's moved down a full point. The pace doesn't back that, but the injuries probably do. The Thunder on the second half of a back-to-back, they snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 150-117 win at home over the Celtics last night without the services of Shea. The Thunder, Shea's not going. We don't know. I don't know if anyone can confirm this, but we don't expect Shea to be back here dealing with the non-COVID illness. And they've won 3 of 4 without him this year, which is surprising. Trey Mann, 13.4 points over the last 5 games since coming back from the G League. He went for 21 yesterday. The Magic are a rested group. We haven't seen them since they lost their third straight game, 119-100 at home to the Wizards on Friday night. But they're going to be missing Bol and Franz Wagner. Bol entered COVID-19 health and safety protocol yesterday. So this is going to be the first game he's missed this year. 12 points, 7.1 boards, 1.6 blocks. Wagner, he's the only other Magic to play every game. He's serving 1-game suspensions with Kevon Harris and Admiral Schofield. They were the players that left the bench in the fight on December 28th. Moritz Wagner will serve the second game of his 2-game suspension for Wednesday. So they're going to have 9 players available. That's it, just 9 players. Now, Cole Anthony, Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter Jr., R.J. Hampton, Gary Harris served their suspensions in the loss to Washington. The Magic have lost 3 straight. They had won 8 of 9. And they're getting hurt defensively with all the change to their lineup. 123 points per game during the losing streak they're allowing. That's 10 more than they allowed through the first 34 games of the year. So Mike M says Orlando Magic still got this out. North Ender says I could only look Magic. Vincent Ramirez looking at the Thunder here. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on this one, LJ. A ton of moving parts. It's a bum fight with missing pieces. So Thunder, Magic, take it away.
Yeah, and I didn't have any interest in this game, Jimmy. I did not even cap this game. I didn't even want to look at this game because you just mentioned it. There's too many moving parts. Orlando don't even have players to play in the game. Shea might not play. They just came off spanking Boston on a back-to-back. So I just don't believe any motivation is required in this game for any team to try to compete. I just think that they're just playing it just because it's on the schedule. And like I say, if you want to make a bet on this game, everybody knows that Oklahoma City is the best second half team in the league. They're 26-9-2 straight up in the second half. 14-4-1 straight up in the second half in their last 19 games. So if Oklahoma City is down or, in the first half, jump on them on the second half. That's the only way I will look considering this game. But this is the famous words of Dutch. This is a backwood, sir, for me.
Yeah, I get it. If I was going to dig for an angle, you have to think that as banged up as the Magic are, Bamba, Carter Jr., Hampton, Harris, and Cole Anthony are very fresh. We haven't seen them. I mean, they weren't available in that loss to Washington on Friday. So you have to think that they're, how rested is this group now? Mm-hmm. You got a very rested. I know it's a small group of 9 players, but they should be. There's actually a huge rest advantage for the Magic, considering that the Thunder are on the back-to-back. I would like to see the books show some concern, which they really haven't yet. 1.5 to 2. That 2's getting juiced. I kind of think the Magic take care of business. Terrell Riley looking at Magic team total. Vincent Ramirez, thank you so much for becoming a member of Pub Sports Radio. Vincent Ramirez, my guy. Thank you. I have interest in the Magic.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure what the hell I'm going to do with that interest. I'm going to spend some more time after the show looking at it, but just feel like these guys got to be raring to go now after being off for so long. And this team was rolling. Now, you're missing.
If you want to take them early. Like I said, Oklahoma City, they're vulnerable early, especially first quarter, first half. So,
and maybe this is a big mistake to do it. I mean, Bull and Wagner have been such a big piece to the puzzle that's been succeeding. So maybe this is just a mistake here. I'll leave a bunch of question marks beside the Magic at this point. Let's move on. Next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern, Indiana Pacers 21-17, 8-10 on the road at the Philadelphia 76ers, 22-14, 15-5 at home. We're at Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. DC Capper, great to see you. And Swiss Horton. So Bol was not going to be in the lineup. So maybe you're just messing around with Bol double. But Dan Kelly says, if you like the Magic, take them after halftime if you have a pregame adjusted advantage. I do have an adjusted advantage, but the problem is that you take these two pieces that have been so vital to the possible turnaround of this franchise out of the lineup. Why would I expect them to succeed? I mean, the one thing you would think, though, even though this game's moving towards the under, is that the paint is going to be a much more open spot, especially for the Thunder. But you don't want to back a Thunder team after 150 points within the last, 18 hours.
Yeah, so. I agree.
All right, maybe it's just a backwood, as you said. Let's talk Pacers, Sixers, Wells Fargo Center, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Indiana, 4-1 over their past 5, playing at the pace of 100.2 possessions a game. Bill McDonald looking, and Dan Kelly says you won't know until halftime. Yeah, no, I hear you. It'd probably be a perfect game to live bet. Bill McDonald looking at Pacers plus the 8. Lucas Ryan and Prongers talked about that, how he went right back to what happened to him. It's a very tough thing to watch these players who we hold on this pedestal look vulnerable, and it's sad, very sad in the post-traumatic stress that they're going to deal with. I mean, we talked about Clint Malarchuk. I see it every time I think of any horrible thing happening. I think of Clint Malarchuk and the blood coming out every breath. and he couldn't handle that. He tried to kill himself 15 years later. I apologize for my family being so loud. They have not gone back to school yet. I will hope that they let me just there we go. Hopefully that worked. I was very calm. Okay. Pacers coming off their fourth straight win, 122-114 at home over Toronto on Monday night. Benedict Mathurin, what a beast. 21 points. Buddy Hield goes for 19. Indiana's bench just showed we talk about the teams that look vulnerable right now, the vulnerability of Toronto. The Indiana's bench won 54-7. Dan Kelly says, I like hearing those kids. Don't apologize. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Unacceptable. All right. TJ McConnell, 15 points off the bench. Sixers come in off their second straight win, 121-11 at home over the Pelicans on Monday. Joel Embiid just keeps dragging his balls in the face of anybody who wants to step in the paint with him. He's become a bully, such a bully. They're lucky they have him. I'm looking forward to see what he can do now with this kind of bully energy in the playoffs. Harden went for 27 and 8, and Maxey returned out for almost 6 weeks with that fractured left foot. This Sixers team has won 10 straight home games. 10 straight home games here. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have Philadelphia opening up at -8. They're now at -7. From a total perspective, it opened up at 232.5. It's now at 233. When we take a look at the cash flow here from Sports Insights, they have 6,894 tickets in, and it's all Pacers. 71% of the tickets, 95% of the cash. So there's bigger bets coming in on the Pacers, but they're also a very public dog. 29% of the tickets and 54% of the cash is on the under. And that has gone up a half point since its opening at Pinnacle. Take it away for us here, LJ. Pacers, Sixers.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game here. Pacers have won 4 in a row. They're 15-8 in the conference, 7-3 in their last 10. Mind you, the 76ers, you just mentioned, 10 straight home wins. They're 15-5 at home, 12-4 at home as a favorite, 10-5-1 ATS at home as a favorite. So both of these teams are in a good position, in my opinion. This is a conference game, so I love diving into the numbers to see what kind of advantages I would get when you play two types of conference teams. I got to the point of the 76ers are a +8 first half margin in the last 3 games, averaging 62 points. The Pacers are averaging 59 points. They're 7-3 ATS in their last 10 in the first half, and they're averaging 64 points in the first half of their last 3 games. Now, that correlates to me looking at the over first half 119, considering, like I said, both teams are averaging 60-plus points in the first half, their last 3 games. Philly plays very well at home, we just said, and Embiid has been a beast. Last 8 home games, averaging 36.5 points. Harden averaging 11.5 assists at home. He's had a double-double 4 out of his last 8 home games. So I do believe this is going to be a nice, intense game here. I see a lot of scoring, especially early, but I'm not going to, like I said, I don't like to take sides, for a game, just because too much, Pacers are a good second half team as well. When they're down, they tend to come back in the second half. But first quarter, they're -3 first quarter point margin, which is second worst in the league. But I'm just going to stick to the fact that both teams are averaging 60-plus points in the first half, their last 3 games. So let's make it official. Over 119.5 first quarter total.
Let's hook you up with that first half total here. 119.5. There is a 5 dimes hanging at 118.5, but it's up -117.
Okay.
Would you prefer that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
LJ moving on the first half over 118.5 at -117 here. Pacers, Sixers. Well, there's 2 things. Now, one, if you like the Pacers, I know that you'll probably have some uncomfort knowing that you're on a very public dog and the rich tradition of public dogs costing the public a ton of money would be in play. The one thing you do have is the market's moved a point in your favor. So at least the books have shown a sign of concern that all this money's on the one side. Secondly, I can't trust an over here myself when I think it's the Pacers who should be, the Sixers should be the team that dictates pace of play because they're the home dog, they're the home bulldog. It was my not dog, obviously underdog, but they're the junkyard dog that's the bully at home, and they're only playing at the pace of 97.7 possessions a game over the last 5. So I know that the efficiency is what gives this number to 233, but if I was more confident in my season, I would think, how could this possibly be a 233 when you have the Pacers? Even the Pacers playing it just barely a tick over 100 possessions a game, and the Sixers at 97.7. Kadesh says Embiid is questionable. Let me just see if I can get the last information on that. This is not something that I saw this morning. Let's move over here because that would be a huge piece. He's not listed on the injury report at this point.
It's day to day. Yeah, it's not. He's day to day.
Okay. I don't even have him on my injury report at all. I've got nobody.
He's going to play though. He always rules in at the last minute. He keeps everybody.
Oh, there it
guessing.
is. Yeah, it just happened. Damn, sorry, I just refreshed it.
So he is questionable.
He is questionable. Left foot soreness. This came out 23 minutes ago.
No, I believe he's going to play. He gets ruled in at the last minute.
Interesting.
Consider how good they play at home. If it was a road game, I would be leaning more towards him trying to rest. But this is a home game. They play well at home, like we just mentioned, 10 straight home games. Mm-hmm. And the Pacers, like I said, they've been playing well too. So I think they're going to try to get this game just because it's Eastern Conference.
Thank you so much for the heads up there, Kadesh. That's very important. So thank you for that. Okay, so LJ's moved on that first half over 118.5 minus 117. Let's move on. Next up for us, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, San Antonio Spurs, 12-25, 5-12 on the road to the New York Knicks, 20-18, 9-10 at home, Madison Square Garden in New York. The Knicks are now playing at a very slow pace. We don't see much slower paces than this. Over their past 5, playing at a pace at 93.94 possessions a game. San Antonio 2-3, playing at a pace at 100.9 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history before we set the quick table for LJ. We have the Knicks open up as 9.5-point favorites. It dipped to 9 for a little bit, back to 9.5. From a total perspective, it opened up at 229 and has dropped all the way to 225.5. Of course it has. With the Knicks playing as slow as they're playing. But the Spurs allow a ton of points. 5,424 tickets in, 68% of tickets, 75% of the cash on the Knicks. And then 65% of the tickets, 92% of cash on the over. And it's dropped that much. If it's dropped this much, I'm certainly not interested in moving on the under. But with all that money on the over and the number dropping, it makes me think that, obviously, why would the books open their arms to more over money? There's Millsy in the house, MMA locker room. Great to see you. Sean Pulliam looking at the Knicks first half. Justin McIntyre looking at Quentin Grimes over 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Let's see what LJ has to say about this. Spurs coming off their second straight loss, 139-103 at Brooklyn on Monday. Embarrassing. The Knicks come off their second straight win. It was a dominant performance on Monday as well. Just right down the street at MSG. Jalen Brunson returned after missing 3 games with the sore right hip. Take it away for us, LJ. Spurs, Knicks.
Yeah, this is a big revenge game for the Knicks. They lost to the Spurs a couple weeks ago, as we all know. So I think they're going to be looking to come out and jump on them real quick early. The Spurs, they are, first quarter, -3 first quarter margin their last 3 games. They've allowed the most points in the first half, 62 points. They're -5 first half point margin on the road. They're 3-6-1 in the last 10 first half straight up. They've lost 3 out of their last 4. And we do know the Spurs, probably the worst team in the league besides the Rockets, but the Spurs allow, like we just mentioned, 121 points, which is dead last. They allow 126 in the last 3 games. They allow the most assists in the league. They allow the 4th most steals in the league. So they're very vulnerable in the backcourt. And I think the Knicks can take advantage of that today, considering they have that lost in their mind. I do believe it. They will want to get back to the Spurs today. The Knicks, we do know how they are early, and the numbers show it. They're 22-14-2 ATS in the first quarter, 14-4-1 ATS in the first quarter at home. They're 15-5 straight up in their last 20 in the first half, 27-11 ATS in the first half at home, averaging 61 points. So those are my two plays, Jimmy. I'm not going to take a lot of time on this. First quarter, -3 Knicks. First half, -5 versus the Knicks. Get in and get out in the first half. Leave the second half to the garbage time of the Spurs because, who's to say they might cover this 9.5 because that's a big number, 9.5. They may cover that. Knicks may win by 7 or 6. Who knows? But first quarter, first half, let's get in, let's get out. Knicks all day.
I can get you the -3 first quarter, -3, -105. That's available at 5 dimes, so we'll lock you in there. First half here, let's see what you have. You have the Knicks first half -5. You can have the -5 at -110 or -4.5 at -117.
Let's do the 110.
-5, -110. I get these looks here. I don't feel comfortable fading a team after getting embarrassed the way they did. I just can't. It's just something I try to stay away from.
I usually go with that theory too, but it's the Spurs.
No, I know you're right. No doubt about it. It's the Spurs, and that could change. I had a friend, years ago who anytime an NBA team lost by 30, he would auto bet them the next day, and his ROI was through the roof, and it always stuck with me.
Yeah.
But you're right. The Spurs are the Spurs, and
They just beat the Knicks. They just beat them.
Yeah, no, and they have you're right. The Knicks have that in their heads what the Spurs are doing. So, no, it's a completely legitimate. I'm going to stick to my rules though. But LJ moving on Knicks first quarter -3, first half -5. Let's move on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Milwaukee Bucks 24-13, 8-9 on the road. Toronto Raptors 16-21, 11-8 at home. Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, and we have DC Capper locking in his action. Thank you for sharing that with us, DC. We will discuss that when we go into college basketball, which is right after this here. So let me just lock that in under FAP's action. Thank you for sharing that with us, DC, my guy. All right, let's get back into this spot with the Raptors. So the thinking here, now, I mean, obviously the big story is Milwaukee on the second half of a back-to-back. Clearly, Giannis is not going to be in the lineup, and the market's telling us that. And that's one key, and we'll talk about all the different keys here, but this is the last stand for the Raptors. It's the beginning of a 6-game homestand. If we play well on this homestand, maybe we keep the team together. If we go 2-4 in this homestand, pieces are going to start getting traded immediately. So this is the last chance at what does this season hold for the Raptors? It's all in this homestand. Bo Jackson has the Raptors winning their next 2 home games, including tonight. And some looks from Bo Jackson as well that Jose will illuminate here for us on the bottom of our page. I like it, Bo. Let's discuss the situation here. Milwaukee and the Raptors, each 2-3 over the past 5. Milwaukee playing at a very fast pace, though. But then you have to look at what their pace is with Giannis and without him on the floor. 103.25 possessions a game from Milwaukee. Toronto 2-3 playing at the pace of 97.40 possessions a game. Opened up at -4, now at -5. This total opened up at 226. It got up to 227, now at 226.5. Take a look at the cash flow here for this one. We have 3,041 tickets in, 50-50 on the ticket count, but 87% of the cash on the Raptors. 58% of tickets, 99% of the cash on the under. There's Ick Schnizzle in the house. He's on the under 244. That's gone up to 245.5 at FanDuel here in the Hawks Kings. I will copy and paste that. Mike M looking at OG Anunoby prop for his rebounds. And Bo Jackson says tonight's Raptors game is being broadcast on ESPN and the next game is on is an OVO night. Oh, wow. Okay, let me just pop this here for our next game that I guess that's a little bit down the way here. The Hawks Kings. That's the final game here on the board. Thank you for sharing that with us. Ick Schnizzle, my guy. Okay, so let's just set a quick table here for LJ in this Raptors game. Bucks on the second half back-to-back after their second win in 3 games, 123-113 at home over the Wizards last night. They had lost 5 of their past 6, and Giannis went for 55, 19 in the fourth quarter. He scored 40 or more in each of his last 3 games, 143 points over that 3-game span. That breaks the Bucks franchise record. Flynn Robinson had the record back in 1969. And Drew Holiday had missed 3 games because of illness. He returned. He only played 19 minutes off the bench. I wonder if he goes tonight or, he only played 19 minutes. Maybe he does, but he is returning from sickness. Brook Lopez goes for 21 and 12. Portis 17 and 13. George Hill missed a 3rd straight game with non-COVID illness. Always something with George Hill. Raptors coming off their 3rd loss in 4 games, 122-114 at the Pacers on Monday. Siakam goes for 26, and Siakam made a big deal about this homestand. Van Fleet, Achua both returned to the lineup on Monday. Van Fleet was out for 2 games because of a back ailment, and Achua was out for 7 weeks due to a sprained right ankle. Van Fleet scored 9 points in 36 minutes. Achua did 3 points, 3 blocks in 12 minutes. And again, I apologize for the screaming of my children. The Raptors got little from their bench. 54-7, they were outscored. Take it away for us, LJ. A big one in Toronto. The season's sort of on the line here, whether or not this team, the way we know it, on the line. Take it away for us, Bucks, Raptors.
Now, I have a question for you before I get into it. What pieces do you think are going to go if they lose these 2 games? What are going to be the pieces that they trade off?
Everybody but Siakam and Barnes is available.
Okay. Wow. Even OG?
OG's the only player with value.
Wow. Okay. Well, getting into the game, I don't have a play just to make it official because I don't like that you just say Giannis may be out of this game, considering the elite performance that he just came off, the 55, 10, and 7 last night. They are 3-0 on back-to-backs, 3-0 ATS on back-to-back. So they do have a good record, coming off of those. But they're still vulnerable, especially in the first half. They're allowing 60 points in the first half their last 10 games, allowing 59 in the first half their last 5 games. First quarter, they've allowed 34 points in 6 losses in the first quarter. So Toronto is 8-3 straight up in their last 11 in the first quarter. So if you do want to attack it first quarter, considering the Bucks are vulnerable in that situation. But the fact that it's just too much going on, I don't trust the lineup for the Bucks. Now, if Holiday is in, I would be looking at his assists because Toronto allows the 3rd most assists at home. And they've averaged allowed 10.5 assists the last 7 games versus the opposing point guard. So if you want to look at those sneaky plays, you can look at those. If Holiday's ruled in, I may sprinkle it on his assists. But as far as the side, if Giannis is not playing, I never bet on the Bucks if their main superstar is not in the game. So that's what I got for you. So this, to me, is also a backwood.
Understandably so. The Raptors just don't have any kind of rhythm right now. BJ says, I watched Toronto interviews. I do think they win this tonight. Billy Brisbane says Bucks smash spot. I mean, can the Bucks smash without Giannis and with Drew sick? I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible. But I think the Raptors are vulnerable because they just simply don't have any kind of rhythm going on with their team right now. So many players coming in and out. I don't know how anybody would really have faith in the Raptors. And I guess at -4, Kadesh saying Bobby Portis props all day. I mean, Bobby Portis and Lopez, I mean, we have size that we can mess with those guys, but I can't as much as I'd like to, or as much as I think that this homestand is going to be very important for us. And I don't mean us, the Raptors. I mean us gamblers. I think we're really going to get an idea of whether or not there's going to be value here with the players, with Achua and Fleet returning. Scotty Barnes being called out on every radio show that happens here. Siakam is and Anunoby, of course, but Siakam's playing with consistency that we haven't seen him play with. And he's calling the team out, saying, this is the homestand. We got to turn it around. Bananas and Grapes, Trent Jr., I thought we had a steal in Gary Trent Jr. I thought the Storm and Norman Powell trade for Gary Trent was just another more Messiah brilliance. And now it looks like Kadesh, no. Well, Van Fleet's just dealing with this back injury, so he's not playing well, and he's not. What did he do? He scored 9 points in 36 minutes on Monday. So I can't do it. I can't take the Raptors here as this a favorite at this number, but it may be at 4, I guess. BJ says the problem with the Raptors is their bench coach nurse even said it, not getting the job done. Second year, they were outscored 54-7, 54-7 by the Pacers in the bench. I can't. But what about a total here? Moving up a half point. Do we? Oh, fuck. Let's just backwoods this bit.
Let's go.
All right. Next up for us, 8 p.m. Eastern, the Brooklyn Nets. 12 straight wins. Looking good. Jacques Vaughn doing his thing. Man, I was given a gift, and it sucks. I was given a gift, though. I have a Steve Nash autographed jersey. I'm like, oh, shit, right? But it's a Lakers jersey. What the fuck am I going to do with it? I
don't even think he'd be suited up for the Lakers, did he?
Yeah, he did.
He did? Oh, I know he had that back issue. He was getting epidurals like every other day.
He's still suited up, but I know what to do with his jersey. It's in the laundry room right now. Nets, Bulls, United Center, Chicago, Illinois. Brooklyn 5-0 over their past 5, 12-0, but we go in 5-game stanzas. 99.30 possessions a game. Chicago 2-3, 99.07 possessions a game. Moving to the line history here for this one. And Nets are becoming must-watch TV. In fact, this Friday, razor sharp picks, Dabby Cab, Brooklyn Nets at New Orleans Pelicans. This Friday, live bet stream here. The problem, Williamson now is injured, which takes a little bit of the gusto off the game. Yeah. But let's talk about this Brooklyn-Chicago spot here. The Nets open up as 4.5-point favorites. They're now 5-point favorites. From a total side of things, they open up at 235.5. It's now at 236. Sharon looking at Brooklyn first half. Billy Brisbane says 236 is a fat total. Justin McElvey looking at KD over 28.5 points. Let's move over to the cash flow for this one. We have 7,350 tickets in, 63% of the tickets, 66% of the cash on Brooklyn. Then we have 60% of the tickets and 98% of the cash on the under. Nets are 23-7 since Vaughn took over for Steve Nash. The Nets shot 62.4% from the field in their win over the Spurs. They're just rolling. Kyrie goes for 27, 11 of 14 from the field. He's averaging 29.3 points in the 10 games he's played over the streak. KD 25 and 11. This team is just rolling. Bulls coming off being swept by the Cavs in a home and home. Those games are really tight, but they were swept. They lost at home on New Year's Eve, 103-102. Then lost in overtime, 145-134 at Cleveland on Monday night. 71 points they allowed to Donovan, and it's kind of taken the focus away from how well DeRozan's playing right now. Take it away for us here, LJ, Brooklyn, Chicago.
Yeah, man, Brooklyn has been on fire. 10-3 on the road versus the East, 19-6 in their conference, 17-4 in the last 21 games versus the Eastern Conference. So, yeah, they've been handling business. They're averaging 34 points in the first quarter, the last 5 games, 15-4, Jimmy, straight up in their last 19 first quarters, averaging 32 points. They're +7 first quarter point margin their last 3 games. As far as the Bulls, they've also been playing well in the first quarter, averaging 30 points in the first quarter, the last 5 games, 9-4 straight up in their last 13 first quarters, averaging 30 points, +5 7-point margin in the first quarter, their last 3 games. So what does that tell me, Jimmy? If they're averaging over 30 plus points in the first quarter, that gives me over 61 points in the first quarter. That's going to be my play. Simply because of how the Nets play early, late. They like to jump on you real early, especially in the first quarter. They're, like I said, they're averaging over 30 points in the first quarter. So you can book that for the Nets. Now, can the Bulls get to 30 points in the first quarter? That's the question. But I do believe that the Nets will have the points to cover that over first quarter. Even if the Bulls give me maybe 27, 28 points in the first quarter, the Nets should give me 34, 35 at the most. So I do believe that their first quarter is going to go over. We just mentioned the Nets lost to the Bulls 108-99 earlier in the year. And where we catch the Nets vulnerable is on the offensive boards. You know, they've been out rebounded on the offensive side of the ball in almost every game in this situation. And I do believe I have the number. I'm sorry, I don't have it on me right now. But yeah, 67-42 in their last 7 games. They've been out rebounded on the offensive side. So if the Bulls can catch them on the board, especially with Vucevic rebounding, because he averages, I think he averages like 11 rebounds in the conference. So his over rebounds could be a play as well. But far as the side, I'm going to stay off. I do believe this will be a good game. Like I said, Eastern Conference game. So I love games that have the conference games. Nets are 16-9 to the under in conference games. They're 13-7 to the under on 1 day's rest. And the Bulls are 11-7 to the under as a home team, 5-3 to the under as a home dog. So the under's in play as well. But I don't like to make a lot of plays on one game. So I'm just going to stick to the fact that the first quarter is where both of these teams are playing very well right now in their last 5 games. So let's just stick to the first quarter over 61. Now, prop bet. Everybody knows. If you've been following me on Twitter, if you've been watching shows, I have been on Nicholas Claxton blocks pretty much the whole season. He's been a cash cow for me. And he's playing an Eastern Conference team tonight. And if you follow me, I've given out the stat numerous of times. He's averaging 4 blocks in his last 6 games on the road, averaging 3 blocks on the road his last 3 games, averaging 3 blocks in the conference games. So, Nicholas Claxton, 3+ blocks, Jimmy, plus 175. That's my best bet of the day, because I'm going to continue to keep riding that money train with Nicholas Claxton. But as far as the side, I'm staying off, but I will take the first quarter over 61.
Interesting. You like the first quarter over, and getting love from Dan Kelly too with your breakdowns. Excellent job, LJ. Lee Davis like in the under 236. It's interesting. I would love to see a sign from the books that they're uncomfortable with all this money on the under. There's 7,452 tickets in. 60% of the tickets are on the under. 98% of the cash is on the under. 98% of the cash, and it's gone up a half point. Mm-hmm. So that's going to keep me off of it at this point. And the first quarter over 61 at minus 105 for LJ with Claxton blocks 3+ at plus 175. Best bet of the day.
Best bet of the day.
And I'll keep those here. So best bet. All right, let's roll on. Next up for us, 8 p.m. Eastern, Portland Trailblazers 19-17, 10-11 on the road. And Minnesota Timberwolves 17-21, 10-9 at home. We're at Target Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Portland 2-3 over the past 5, playing at the pace of 100.9 possessions a game. Minnesota 1-4, playing at the pace of 101 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history for the Blazers Wolves spot. We have the Blazers opening up at +1. They're now -1.5. So it's done the flip. Let's take a look at the money line. Blazers opening up -105. They're now -119. A total perspective opened up at 233. We're now up to 234.5. Take a look at the cash flow for this one. Just 2,027 tickets in. 71% of tickets, 90% of the cash on the Blazers. Gone from dog to favorite. 75% of the tickets on the over, but just 50% of the cash. But it's gone up 1.5 points. So Portland comes in off its second win in 3 games, 135-106 at home versus Detroit on Monday night. Gary Payton Jr. returned in that win over the Pistons. 7 points, 4 assists, 1 steal. This is becoming a pretty dynamic basketball team. Jeremy Grant goes for 36, Simons 30, Lillard 19, 10, and 4 being the steals. Timberwolves snapped their 6-game losing streak with a 124-111 win at home over the Nuggets on Monday night. Edwards goes for 29, McDaniels 21, Anderson 19. Russell was sick We'll see if I'll take a second look, see if he's going to be available tonight. Naz Reid had lower back spasms. They're both day to day. Cat with the calf strain. McLaughlin with the calf strain as well. They're out indefinitely. And Torian Prince questionable with right shoulder issues. Interesting spot here. Do you agree with the move of the Blazers going from dog to favorite? Floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, very interesting spot. I didn't expect it. I capped this game as Minnesota as the favorite. They are in a revenge spot too because they've lost the last 2 games versus Portland. But Portland is very vulnerable in the first half as well. But first quarter, they're 10-5-1 in the last 16 straight up in the first quarter, but they're -8 point margin in the last 3 games. So they've digressed for the most part. Meanwhile, Minnesota, first half, man, 13-2 in their last 15 straight up in the first half, plus 10 point margin in the last 3 games. So if I'm going to make a play on this game, I'm going to catch Minnesota early. They're the dog now too, so it may be to my advantage because I was thinking them as a favorite initially when I capped this game. Portland, like I said, they beat them the last 2 times. Lillard had 37, averaged 37 in those 2 wins. One of those games, he had 11 threes. So they shot the ball very well the last 2 games that they had versus Minnesota. Nurkic was averaging 14. Jeremy Grant is the X factor for Portland. 20 points the last 2 games versus Minnesota. And if he plays well, Portland is a bet-on team because, you got Lillard at the point, and he's distributing now. I think he's averaging maybe like 7 assists since he's came back. So if his team is contributing, Portland is very good. But as far as tonight, I think Minnesota is going to want to have a revenge on them, and I do believe that they're going to come out now. I want to see if Russell will be in the lineup. I need him to be in that lineup because he had 20-plus points those 2 games and those losses. Rudy Gobert, 20 rebounds that last game that they played. But at the end of the day, I don't trust Minnesota for a game. I only can bet them first half. So let's make it official. And I'm not going to take the point. I'm just going to take the money line. Minnesota, first half money line, -110, because they're 13-2 in the last 15 straight up in the first half.
Russell's off the injury report.
Okay, that makes it even better for me. Yeah.
All right, let's lock in your first half money line. It's funny the way Edwards plays. When he's the sole focus, he's spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
When he sits back and watches other stars, and he's just kind of floats around and plays on the periphery. But he was awesome in that game against the Nuggets. Okay, let's grab your Minnesota first half money line, and that is plus 105.
Let's do it.
Plus 105. Slow-mo Joe Hill and Drew out for the Bucks, says Kadesh. I mean, are you telling me that Giannis is going to play? I felt like that line was telling us that there would be no Giannis. I mean, Giannis isn't on the injury report. I still don't believe he's going to play. Why? I mean,
why would he?
Yeah, in the second half or back-to-back after you're so concerned about his issues with his knee.
And who do they have coming up? That's the question. Who do the Bucks have coming up after this game? The Hornets and the Knicks. Okay.
Timberwolves first half plus 105. That is an interesting take on that one. Let's just take one last look at this total in this game. And you have 90% of the cash at this point on the Trailblazers. And there's a whole bunch of spots where there's 90+% of the cash. 87 with the Cavs, but 97 with the Pacers, 90 with the Magic, 99 with the Grizzlies, 91 with the Raptors, 90 with the Blazers, and then there's one more that we will talk about as well. But that's a dangerous place to be. I know it's early and the ticket count is low. This total has gone from 233 up to 234.5. Okay, let's roll. And North End says wraps up to 5.5. Aaron Gaza says Minnesota spot double revenge.
Cat has just confirmed that Giannis is out too.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, let's move on. That's the Blazers Wolves. Next up for us, 8 p.m. Houston Rockets. And this is the other team that's got 90+% of backers. Houston Rockets, 43% of the tickets, but 95% of the cash on the Rockets. 69% of the tickets on the over. We don't have a cash count there. Let's take a look at the line history for the Rockets Pelicans spot. We have the Rockets opening up at +8. They're now +7. From a total side of things, opened up at 225, shot all the way up to 229. Houston 1-4 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 99.30 possessions a game. Rockets 4-15 on the road. Pelicanos 16-4 at home, 3-2 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 100 possessions a game. Houston comes in off their 4th straight loss, 111-106 at home versus Dallas on Monday night. 18-point second half lead they lost. Pelicans come in off their 2nd straight loss, 120-111 at the Sixers on Monday night. And Zion Williamson is going to be out. And, of course, Brandon Ingram out as well. But they've been very good without these players. They're 6-2 without Zion, 14-8 without Ingram. He's been out 18 games straight with a bruised toe. And they're 4-1 without both of them. But Larry Nance also out. He has a neck injury, so he's ruled out. He would help a lot without those two guys in the lineup. And they have won 14 of the past 16 at home. Mike M says New Orleans covered 6 in a row versus the Southwest. North Ender says quadruple revenge for the Rockets. Take it away for us here, LJ. Your Rockets in play. Rockets, Pelicans.
Yeah, man. I would have loved for Zion to be in this game because I was going to jump all on the Pelicans, to be honest with you. Because the Rockets, they're 1-7 in their division, 3-10 on the road versus the West, 4-14 as a road dog. And they're very vulnerable in the first half. -4.5 first quarter point differential on the road, -8 first half point differential on the road, which is dead last. And we do know that the Rockets commit a lot of turnovers, number 1 in the league. They're averaging 17 turnovers a game, 26 turnovers in the last game versus the Pelicans, which resulted to 32 points off those turnovers. But as we just mentioned, Zion is out. Brandon Ingram is out. Lance Jr. is out. So those are key components for the Pelicans in order for them to be successful. So the only person that you can look at now is down on the side is CJ McCollum. He should get all the points tonight. So I think that's an easy play. CJ McCollum's points. I'm not making it official, but I'm just throwing that out there for everybody. CJ is going to have to score tonight because that's all that they have. But as far as the side, Pelicans in the first quarter, they're +2 first quarter at home point margin. They're +6 first half point margin at home. You just mentioned 14-2 in their last 16 home games, and they've already beat the Rockets on November 12th, 119-106. The Pelicans are 6-2 in their division, 11-2 at home versus the West. So all the signs point to the Pelicans winning this game, but the fact that they have 3 players out, including Zion, because I was ready to bet on Zion. He's had 25+ points, 11 out of his last 13 games. So he's going to be out. So the only way I can look at this game is I'm going to stay on my money train with my prop. Kevin Porter Jr. for the Rockets. Over 30.5 PRA, -118, because he's averaging a 38 PRA in his last 5 games. He's averaging a 38 PRA in his last 3 road games. So Kevin Porter Jr. PRA tonight, but other than that, I had to stay off the side because the Pelicans now have Zion out. Because I was ready to jump on them, but I can't take it the fact Zion's out now. So the Rockets could be in play to win this game, but I can't trust the Rockets to win the game. I'm going to have to see it, especially on the road. They play better at home. On the road, they're a complete disaster, especially in the second half with all the turnovers that they commit. But let's just stick to Kevin Porter Jr. He's been making me money over PRA 30.5.
Eddie Euler looking at the under 229.5. This opened at Pinnacle at 225. It's gone all the way up to 229. Trey Murphy over 14.5 points for Billy Brisbane.
Okay.
Okay, KPJ over 39 points, rebounds, assists, minus 118 for LJ. Let's move on. 10 p.m. Eastern, Detroit Pistons 10-30, 5-17 on the road at the Golden State Warriors 20-18, 17-2 at home. Chase Center in San Francisco, California. Warriors have won 5 straight, playing at a pace of 103.78 possessions a game over that amount of games. Detroit 2-3, playing at a pace of 102.27 possessions a game over that 5-game stretch. Let's go to the line history here for Detroit Golden State. We have the Warriors opening up at -7.5. They're now -6.5. From a total perspective, opened up at 233. It's now at 231.5. Take a look at the cash flow in this one. 4,816 tickets in. 88% of tickets, 87% of cash on Golden State, and it's dropped a point. 54% of tickets, 71% of cash on the under. Pistons come in off their second loss in 3 games, 135-106 at Portland on Monday night. Bogdanovich went for 21, but this is a team that's just hurting right now. They lose Bagley to a hand injury. Already don't have Cunningham. They lost Isaiah Livers with a sprained right shoulder. Warriors coming off their 5th straight win, 143-141 at home over Atlanta in double overtime on Monday night. Killian Hayes will be returning from his 3-game suspension. As well. Sorry, that's for the Piston spot. But Golden State's gone 5-0 on this 8-game homestand. The last 4 victories have all been very tight, all 6 or fewer. Clay went for 54. Looney had 20 boards, and Draymond Green had a double-double. Take it away here. Interesting, LJ, to see the line drop a point, even though 88% of cash on the Warriors. Pistons, Warriors, floor's yours.
Yeah, I'm taking the Warriors. Detroit, they're horrible on the road. 3-7 on the road versus the West. They're 5-12 versus the West total on the season, and they're 5-19 record with a day off. So they tend to perform very, very bad in this situation. They're -12 first quarter point margin on the road. They're -4.5 first half point margin on the road. While the Warriors, just mentioned how good they are at home, 13-2 as a home favorite, 10-4 ATS as a home favorite, 7-1 at home versus the East, and they're 14-6-1 to the over on 1 day's rest. Now, the way we're going to attack this game is the first quarter, because the Warriors are averaging 35 points in the first quarter, their last 5 games, 7-2 straight up in their last 9 first quarter at home, +4 first quarter point margin at home. So that's going to be my play. Warriors -2 first quarter. I'm just going to get in and get out, do what they do best. Like I said, I expect them to win the game because this is an Eastern Conference team that they're playing. Detroit, they have a lot of key components out, and it's Detroit. They're on the road. So I think they're just running into a good team with the Warriors. We've won 5 in a row. Klay Thompson averaging 34.5 points his last 4 games. So I will be looking at his point prop as well. But for show purposes, official, let's not think about this too much. Warriors first quarter -2.
-2 at -110 for LJ. Warriors first quarter -2, -110. This makes sense. Just makes sense here that they're comfortable. They're at home. They're playing good basketball. Mm-hmm. And who's going to stop this? You look at this line of Hayes, Ivy, Bogdanovich, Stewart, and Jalen Duren.
Yeah,
I like it. I think this makes sense here. I'm very interested in it. Warriors first quarter -2, -110. All right, 2 games left on the board here. 10 p.m. Eastern, Miami Heat 20-18, 9-10 on the road at the LA Lakers, 16-21, 8-8 at home. We're Crypto in LA. Miami 4-1 over their past 5, playing at the pace of 97.30 possessions a game. Lakers 3-2, playing at the pace of 100.8 possessions a game. Their pace has slowed. As soon as they started slowing their pace down, they started winning basketball games. I don't know what Darvin Ham was thinking when these guys were playing at 105 and 106 possessions a game. Mm-hmm. Spread-wise, this opened up as the Lakers 4-point dogs. They're now 6.5-point dogs. From a total perspective, it opened up at 227.5 and it shot up to 229.5. Looking at the cash flow here, 6,134 tickets in, 44% of tickets, 81% of cash on the Heat. Books concerned, moving the line pretty swiftly towards the Heat. 69% of tickets and 99% of cash on the over. Heat coming off their second straight win, fourth in 5 games, 110-100. The Clippers on Monday night. They've won 8 of their last 11. They've won 6 of their last 7 on the road. 31-13 for Bam. Bam rolling right now. Lakers coming off their second straight win in third and 4 nights, 121-115 at Charlotte on Monday night. James, 29 points per game on the year, but 34.4 over his last 10 games. And, of course, 45 over his last 2. Take it away for us, LJ. Heat, Lakers.
Man, LeBron has been a monster, man. And I don't see why you just won't just stay on his points. That should just be an auto bet. He's had 30-plus points 9 of his last 11 games. 40-plus the last 2 games. So let's just stay on LeBron's points. He's trying to break this record. He's going to break this record. It's just a matter of how many games it's going to take for him to do it. So that's definitely an auto bet for me. But far as the side, the Heat, 7-2 on the road their last 9 games. They're 12-7 versus the West, 6-2 versus the Pacific Division, 7-3 in their last 10. First half, they're 11-4 straight up in the last 15 in the first half. Plus 7-point margin first half, their last 3 games. Now, they are 5-12-2 ATS after a win. Now, Lakers just lost to them in Miami. So do I want to lean Lakers plus 6, Jimmy? I'm trying to talk it out with you. I want to take the Lakers in this spot, but they are 3-4 at home versus the East. They're only 9-8 versus the East. So they don't have a good record versus the East, but the Lakers at home first half are bet on money, as we see. They're plus 3 first half at home, but I don't want to trust him, man. I just want to trust the fact that LeBron is going to continue to keep performing at elite, but can I trust his team to join him? You know, Russell's been playing well off the bench, but without Anthony Davis in their lineup, the Lakers are a toss-up to me. They could win, they could lose, they could look good, they could look bad, but we can feel it really stay on LeBron's points. So to make it official, I'm going to take LeBron's points. I don't know where it is. I just thought about it right now. Before as a side, I'm leaning Lakers first half, but I can't make it official. I have to keep watching and see because they just came off that long road trip. So we usually fade home teams coming off a road trip. That first game is usually a fade. So it's just too many conflicting trends and things for me in order to officially make a point on the side. But I am just going to stick to just staying on LeBron's James points. I don't know what it is. You can look it up for me. But as far as a side, I'm just going to stay off.
It's 30.5, heavily juiced to the over.
Yeah.
The issue is that he's listed as questionable. There's cappers in the chat that don't think he's going to play tonight. He's questionable with a left ankle soreness.
He's always questionable. He's questionable every game, and he ends up playing and scoring 30 plus 40. So that doesn't scare me. I think he's going to play. I just don't see how they're going to perform coming off that long road trip because the Miami Heat, they've been on the West. You know, they've been out there. So they may be comfortable. You know, everybody, for the most part in the league, turns up for the Lakers because they are a marquee team. So a lot of teams love playing the Lakers because they know eyes are going to be on that game. But I just can't take an official side because the Heat are good in the first half. The Lakers are good in the first half ATS. So let's just lay off. I don't want to jump in too quick because, like I said, if I have a lot of sides, a lot of bets, I tend to lose. So let's just stay off.
I feel you. Dan Kelly says LeBron's ankle's always sprained.
Right?
Yeah. So did you want to move on LeBron or did you want to wait on that?
Yeah, I'm going to wait.
Okay.
I'll tweet it out. I'll wait on it.
Okay. And Justin Fields out on Sunday. We know the Bears need to lose, but the fact that he's not going to go for that rushing title is surprising. We thought he'd go in, be in there for the first half, get his 64 yards, break the NFL record for rushing, and then be out. But Peterman under center is shocking turn of events. But the Bears have to lose, so it makes sense. Okay. And they have a chance, right? If the Texans beat the Colts, all of a sudden Bears have the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
So no movement there for Heat Lakers. Final game on the board here. We already heard from our guy, Icky E. Schnizzle. He is on the Hawks Kings under 244. Said it got up to 245 and a half. Atlanta Hawks 17-20, 6-12 on the road. Sacramento Kings 20-16, 11-7 at home. Are the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California. Atlanta 1-4 over their past 5, playing at the pace of 103.3 possessions a game. Sacramento 3-2, playing at the pace of 100.4 possessions a game. And we will be going into college basketball with Dabby Cab right after this. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Hawks Kings. The Kings opened up as 1-point favorites, and it hasn't moved. It moved up to 1.5 for a little bit, but it's right where it opened, -1, -103. From a total side of things, opened up at 244, now at 245. Let's take a look at the line history here. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. See, is anyone trying to get under this? And there's a lot of people. 68% of the tickets, 88% of the cash going under the 245, but it's gone up a point. The books are showing no fear with people betting the under. 35% of the tickets, 43% of the cash on Sacramento. So the public liking what they saw from Atlanta, at least in one game against the Warriors. 143-141 double overtime loss. Looney's put back with 0.1 seconds left, sealed the deal. That's a 4 straight loss for Atlanta. They've lost 10 of their past 14. Trey goes for 30, 14, and 7. Murray goes for 25, 10, and 7. John Collins goes for 25 and 13. Bogdanovich goes for 21, and they lose. Kings are on the second half of a back-to-back after their third win in 4 games, 117, 115 at Utah last night. De'Aaron Fox went for 37. Sabonis with a broken right thumb, 21 points, 14 boards, 8 assists. Taking it away for us here, LJ, last game on the board, Hawks, Kings.
Yeah, man. Another revenge game for the Kings. They lost to the Hawks on November 23rd. The Kings had 19 turnovers in that game, resulted to 25 points off those turnovers. So I think that they're going to be looking for some revenge tonight at home, which they are more comfortable at home. The Hawks, 4-6 versus the West, 0-3 on the road versus the West. First quarter, 3-9 in their last 12 straight up in the first quarter. 4-13-1 ATS in their first half on the road. -3 first half point differential on the road. So Atlanta's been playing very bad on the road. They continue to keep this. This is a trend that goes back to last year. And somebody just mentioned in the chat, I had this, who was that just mentioned? Mike M mentioned it. They're 0-8 versus the West teams with winning records. So all that correlates to the Kings coming through tonight. They're 8-3 as a home favorite. 6-2 at home versus the East. So, and the way we're going to attack it is the first half. Because I just mentioned Atlanta is 4-13-1 ATS first half on the road. The Kings are 12-5 ATS in the first half at home. So that's going to be my play. Kings minus the half, first half -105. And Sabonis, you just mentioned he has a broken thumb. It don't matter. This guy averaging 23, 13, and 7 in his last 5 games, which puts you at a 43 PRA. He's had 14 plus rebounds, 8 out of his last 14 games, 7 plus assists, 7 out of his last 9 games, 14 straight games, Jimmy, with a double-double. So Sabonis over PRA tonight as well is going to be my play. But to make official for the show, Kings minus the half, first half -105. They should take care of business tonight. Easy, early, and often.
I can get you the first half with no minus half, a -106.
Okay, let's do it.
Half money line -106. I'd like to fade the Hawks here.
Yeah, let's do it.
I see why you're focusing on the first half. You have the Kings coming off the back-to-back at Utah at elevation. That makes me uncomfortable. This card made me more uncomfortable than I thought. A North Ender looking at the over here. I have some interest in that, which would move me towards a first half over.
I can see that too.
Full game over, just in case. Maybe that's where I want to move. I think the first half over here, you have a spread that's ridiculously high. A total that's ridiculously high, 245. And so people start betting under it, and the books show absolutely no fear whatsoever.
Yeah, because the Kings are an over team. They're 11-6-1 to the over as a home team, 8-3 to the over as a home favorite. That's why that number is the way it is.
Yeah, I'm interested in that first half over. LJ moving on the Kings first half minus 106. All right, let's review all action here and then get into college basketball. We have LJ on the Grizzlies first half -4, minus 105. He will be on Jaren Jackson over 2.5 blocks when it's available. He's on the Cavs first quarter -1.5. I'm going to be on the under in the Suns and Cavs. Then Oklahoma City, Orlando. I'm going to spend a little bit more time and look at that Orlando spot. LJ's on the first half over 118.5 in Pacers Sixers. He's on the Knicks first quarter -3, first half -5. We stayed off of Bucks Raptors. It feels like Raptors are the spot, but I just don't trust them. LJ's on Brooklyn Chicago first quarter over 61 at -105. His best bet of the day, Claxton blocks 3 or more at +175. Timberwolves first half for LJ at +105. Then he's on KPJ, Kevin Porter Jr. over 30.5 points, rebounds, assists at -118. He's on the Warriors first quarter at -2. I'm interested in that spot. I think I'm going to join you on that spot. Heat, Lakers, we stayed off. He's on the Kings first half -106. Now I'm going to be on the first half over in Atlanta, Sacramento. There you have it, LJ. You smashed this one. Great job. 12 games in the books. Look forward till we can do this again. Thank you for making the time for us. Follow LJ on Twitter at LJ Sports Media and support our man, Selfless Capper, only looking for us to get that cash. LJ, any last words for the Capper supporting the show?
Hey, just continue to keep supporting the show. Best chat in the world. You know, I used to be a part of the chat. Now I'm live here with Jimmy the Bad. You know, like I said, this has been a bucket list for me the last couple of years, so I enjoy doing this with you, Jimmy. I took off work today just to do this for you because this is what I enjoy doing. So we're going to do it again soon. You know, my peak season is over for work, so I have a little bit more time to get on these shows. So I will be letting you know the next time I'm available. But until then, let's keep cashing, Jimmy. Let's keep making some good content on these shows. Shout out to the chat, everybody, AOD, you know, Stormy Viper B, everybody, man. Everybody, just keep supporting and let's get this money.
Let's get it. There he is, LJ from H-Town. Love him. And getting a lot of love from the chat. Richly deserved. Eddie Euler also on that Thunder Magic under 228. We move on to college basketball. Our guest is having internet troubles. Dabby Cab with internet troubles right now. Not sure if he will be available, which does throw us a bit of a curveball. My success, and it's been rampant in college basketball, 35-20, has basically been setting up a situation, hearing an expert talk about it, and then studying the market and analyzing the market and then moving forward. On Friday, I was a half point off sweeping the board 4-0, and then I stayed off college basketball until we get back in action together, working together. But we will move forward here. So the chat's going to become even more important right now with Cab being unavailable. We are going to talk about 10 different spots here. And Dan Kelly says that's a great formula for winning. It is. It's been working very well. You set the table so that you know where the market is, where the cash is, and where the teams are coming from. You know, if they just lost, if they're coming from a road, how much time off, and then let an expert lead you the way, and then pick your spot where you're going to attack. Unfortunately, then in this situation, we'll be focusing more just on the market here. But Justin McAfee says, we hear, Jimmy, we got. I like it. Let's get to work. Let's get to work here. So we move into college basketball. Again, it's been a great year so far. 35-20, 63.6% plus 13.05 units. ROI plus 23.73%, average line minus 110. Eddie Euler already played Miami, Florida -6. And I hear you, Dan Kelly. And DC Capper, Florida -5.5, and Texas A&M. Okay, let's get to work here and see what we can do. Ryan Mueller on Penn State plus 3.5 in Illinois -4. Let's go. We're going to talk about 10 spots here. Thank you, George, my guy. Let's get to work. So we did hear from Fap win on Radford, team total over 73.5. We heard from DC Capper. DC Capper, Bradley, Murray State under 130, VCU, Duquesne over 137, And he's on Missouri, Arkansas over 153.5, Colorado State, Nevada over 139.5. We're going to get started here together at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. The number 22 ranked Auburn Tigers, 11-2, 1-0 in conference play in the SEC, at the Georgia Bulldogs, 10-3, opening up their SEC account. Let's go to the line history here and see what we are dealing with and get the cash flows moving over to NCAA basketball. Here we go. Auburn and Georgia is the first up. So here we go. First off, we'll move on to the line history for Auburn and Georgia. We have Georgia opening up as 6.5-point dogs. They're now 7.5-point dogs. So it's been a 1-point move over to Auburn. This total has gone from 134.5 to 135. Taking a look at the cash flow, we have just under 2,000 tickets in, and it's Georgia money coming in. 75% of tickets, 71% of the cash on Georgia. Sports Insights has given implied value towards Auburn. You see 25% of tickets and 29% of the cash on Auburn, and the market moving towards Auburn. It's fascinating. It's fascinating that the books would say, if you like Georgia, we want you to bet Georgia here. Very, very fascinating, which makes me think that Auburn is the play. Let's just see here. Auburn coming off its third win in 4 games, 61-58 at home over Florida last Wednesday as 5.5-point favorites. Georgia comes in off its third straight win, 78-72 at home over Riders, 9.5-point favorites. Georgia been playing cupcakes of late, now opening up their SEC account against the tough Auburn Tigers team. And Auburn, was that last game? Let me just pull up Auburn's situation here quickly. Move over here and get this up and at them. Here we go. I'd like to see if Auburn's been spending this. I mean, Auburn went into Washington and smashed them, went into USC and just barely lost by 3. So they come home and then they move on. Georgia beat Notre Dame. They lose to Georgia Tech. They beat Chattanooga by 7, beat Rider by 6. I mean, obviously this is a much more important spot, but I just feel like the level of competition is just much lower for Georgia. And we know that Auburn's comfortable playing on the road. Now they play in an SEC battle. Have to think here that if the 7.5 is too much, or we're concerned about that spread, then why don't we focus on the first half? Clearly, the money's coming in on Georgia, and the books want more of it. So Lee Davis leaning under. Johnny Gonzalez looking at home road splits here. That would take me a little bit of time because of the neutral court games. Take a little bit of time to figure that shit out. There's Twate Latte in the house. What up, Twatty? Miscapping college basketball with you. Lesman says, look ahead spot for Auburn. Same spot as last year. Beat Georgia only by 2. That's interesting. A look ahead spot. Let's just see exactly. Let me just pull this up. And we're going to need your input here with our guest not available more than ever. So please jump in to the chat and let us know your thoughts. They play Arkansas at home on Saturday night. Sure, that's a big game, but I mean, these SEC battles are huge. But I can understand it. I feel like the level of competition that Georgia has been playing is soft. And you go up against an Auburn Tigers team that I'm interested in Auburn first half. This doesn't necessarily we talk about how needing everything to sort of correlate for you to make a move on something. And here, the fact that the books are opening up their arms to Georgia cash is not necessarily the angle that I find most appealing. I'd much rather have, 25% of tickets, 65% of the cash on Auburn and the market moving a point towards Auburn. But 25% of the tickets, 29% of cash on Auburn and the market moving towards them. Jake Burns is on Georgia first half and full game. Yeah, Jake, I mean, look, clearly Georgia is a public dog here. You have 75%, 3 of every 4 tickets coming in on Georgia, and the market moving a point away from them. Jake Burns saying they lost by 1 last year. They want this game. I guess that can be enough to keep me off of this, but not a chance do I want to be on a public dog when the market is moving in the opposite direction. That's just a recipe for disaster, traditionally, historically. So we have Lee Davis looking at the under. Johnny Gunn thinks Auburn first half would be the play. That's what I was looking at, Johnny. All right, so let's move on here. I can stay off, but that would be my thought. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern next up. The number 16th ranked Duke Blue Devils, 11-3, 2-1 in the ACC at NC State Wolfpack, 11-4, 1-3 in the ACC. Jake Burns says that does scare me, Jimmy, but I'm going with my gut. I get it. But I do think, Jake, as we talk about how to succeed long-term in this, is that if you like a public dog, start tracking it and stay off of it. I think that's the best thing that you can do for your long-term success. Say, okay, this is a public dog. Just start tracking on a spreadsheet. And you'll see that in the long run, you will have lost. Your ROI will be negative. But we can talk more about that as we go. Lee Davis on NC State plus 4.5. Lucas Ryan saying clear over to me. Duke, NC State, we're at PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. Duke 2-1 in conference, and NC State's had a tough time in conference, 1-3 in ACC play. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Duke, NC State. Line moving towards Duke. Duke opening up as 3.5-point favorites, now 4.5 or 5. That 4.5 juiced to minus 116. From a total perspective, opening up at 144.5 is a pick'em, a 5-cent move to the over. 5-cent move to the over. Dan Kelly says Duke historical trends are meaningless with the change in coaches. And Lucas Ryan saying, agree, Dan, throw all that data out. Robert Franklin looking at the over 144.5 in this one. Let's take a look and see where the cash lies here, if that's following with you guys. We have 2,230 tickets in. 63, this is another spot, just like the last one. 63% of tickets and 96% of cash is on NC State, and yet the market has moved a point towards Duke. We're not getting any help on the total. Alec says projection has NC State by 3 and they rebound by 9. Says give me the home dog. Terrell Riley says give me the home dog. Look, I get it, but this is a very similar situation that we just faced. Duke bounced back from its 81-70 loss at Wake Forest by winning 86-67 at home over Florida as 16.5-point favorites on Saturday. NC State had their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 78-64 loss at Clemson on Friday as 2.5-point dogs. We cashed on the under in that game quite comfortably. Coin says NC State getting all the action on lines gone against them, 1.5 or a point. I truly believe that if NC State was your thought and you see the market acting the way it is, that you can't back NC State. And, you know, when it comes to college basketball, and X's and O's are also very important. You can have a plan with the way that you have broken down the game, and you can follow through with that plan. Justin McElvey also on the over 144.5. There's Rodney Barton. Great to see you, Rodney Barton. Know that you've been going through some tough times. If we could all take a second and give as much love as possible to Rodney Barton. His dad died recently, and it's the toughest thing that you can deal with. But let him know that he's back with his other family right now, capping sports. We love you, Rodney. We're thinking about you, and just know that we got your back. So thinking about you, Rodney, and thank you for joining us. And life is unrelenting, but whenever you need to take a break from it all, think about something you love. Just come here and cap with us. So. at this point, if the X's and O's are leading you guys to NC State, that's all well and good. It's got to be Duke or no bet here, though. If we're talking about a situation where all of the money is coming in on NC State and the market's moving towards Duke, it's got to be a red flag, in my estimation. Slow Jams Arsenal says Duke playing super slow now and coach preaching defense. And Dan Kelly, this is a Jimmy bag that did not exist 5 years ago. And you're right. And I know now. And I'm coming off my best year capping. And this capping together is something that you need to, like Pete always told us to listen, and we need to continue to improve. A lot of people think you can't beat the books. You can't beat minus 110. Well, we're proving that that's not the case. But yeah. All right. Rob Free says John Shire has an amazing record at home, average on the road. Tough game here. Can we really trust NC State in this one? I say no. I say we can't. Mike M's action is here. I'm going to lock this in. Rodney, we're your other family, my man. And we're trying to get that cash today, Rodney, my guy. So I think that there were real. Okay, let's go back to this NC State Clemson game. I watched it. I cashed the under on it, and NC State fell apart. Now it was on the road. They had won 3 straight at home. Furman, Vanderbilt, Louisville, kind of weak competition. They've been much better at home than they were on the road. And then look at Duke. Duke loses by 11 at Wake Forest. So can you trust Duke on the road? That was their only true road game of the year. And they did not look good. Rob Free connecting with Rodney. That's so important. So important to connect. Sorry to hear that you had to go through that, Rob. 62 is too young, man. Too young. Sorry to hear, Rob. But that's what this show is also about. We're not just a bunch of cappers. We're going to be there for each other when it matters most. That's the difference. Well, I guess you could say you don't trust Duke on the road. You don't trust NC State at all. So I can leave this one alone. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern, the 25th ranked Iowa State Cyclones, 10-2, 1-0 in the Big 12. At the Sooners, 9-4, 0-1 in the Big 12. Head to Norman for this one. Let's take a look at the line history here. In this one, over here. All right, let's get these Cyclones up here. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Iowa State opening up as 3.5-point dogs, now 3-point dogs. The initial move was 4.5, and it happened right away. The initial move was to Oklahoma, and then it started moving in the opposite direction. Totals-wise, this opened up at 124.5, and it just jumped up to 126. We had a 1.5 jump just under an hour ago. T-Mac riding NC first half. Jack to play Duke. Oklahoma first half as well. Rodney M looking at Murray State plus 5.5. All right, let's pull up the cash flow for this one. Iowa State, Oklahoma. See what we are dealing with. We have 2,991 tickets in. 58% of tickets, 73% of the cash on Oklahoma. And the market initially moved in their direction. Then you have 86% of tickets on the over, and we've finally seen a movement. Lee Davis says, I think this is a Sooner spot. Iowa State with an incredible game versus Baylor. Iowa State coming in off its third straight win, 77-62 at home over Baylor on Saturday is 2-point dogs. It was impressive. Oklahoma had their 2-game winning streak snapped in a 70-69 loss at home versus Texas on Saturday is 3-point dogs. I agree. This feels like a spot for Oklahoma. I agree. But we are given the gift of an expert that is joining us here. Got his internet issues figured out. Please welcome to the show, Deborah Cadabra. Dabby, how are you, my man?
Oh, I mean, my blood was literally boiling because it said contact your internet provider. And like I called them, they're like, oh, nothing's wrong. I'm like, but it's not working. Like, I'm going to kill somebody right now, but we're good. We're here. It's all good. Sorry about that. Sorry to the chat. Sorry to you, Jimmy.
That's all good, buddy.
That was very frustrating.
No, sorry, it's last from the chat. No, it's all good, my man. It's great to have you here because we have discussed some of these spots. So why don't we go back and just do a once over very quickly on them? Starting with the number 22nd ranked Auburn Tigers at the Georgia Bulldogs. The big story here, let me just move back to the line history, was that all of the cash is coming in on Georgia. 75% of tickets, 71% of the cash. And yet the market is moving towards Auburn from 6.5 to 7.5, which makes me think that Auburn is the play. But a lot of people talking about Ravenga from Georgia. What are your thoughts? Take it away, Auburn, Georgia.
So this game, Auburn's they've been a frustrating team. They lost to USC, lost to Memphis. Both of those were on the road. They're 1-4 against the spread their last 5. Green Jr. has been hit or miss. Their junior guard. Georgia, on the flip side, they've won 3 straight. Their best win was Notre Dame, who lost to Boston College last night, which was telling to say the least. I had Notre Dame first half, which ended up working, so that don't matter. But they lost full game to Boston College. Georgia, they're putting up 71.3 points per game, which is good for 195th in the country. But they haven't played anybody. Their schedule strength outside of Notre Dame is 345th. They lost by 10 against Wake. They lost by 14 against UAB. I could only look Auburn here. This is just not an Auburn team that I like laying points with. But honestly, I think 7.5 might be a little low, even on the road here against Georgia. So I'd only look Auburn here, but I didn't bet this one.
Yeah, that's what the market is telling me. We've already seen Auburn with the ability to go into tough spots and win. They went into Washington, dominated them, barely lost at USC. But then things get a little more difficult in conference, and we saw that when they barely squeezed by Florida. So I was looking at Auburn first half because of the weakness of Georgia's opposition. But I'm a little hesitant right now to move on it, and you are staying off this spot. But Auburn first half,
I don't hate that though. What are you getting, a 3.5?
Yeah,
that's about right. I mean, there's no excuse for Auburn not to go in half up by 4 points or more against Georgia. That being said, this Auburn team has, on the offensive end, they've given worrisome signs throughout this season. But yeah, I think Auburn covers the spread here. I'm just not betting it.
Well, it's an easy way to stay off of Georgia. I don't know what's happening here with my NCAA odds page. Is messing. Here we go. Now it's back. Let me just see what it was first half. Yeah, it's this first half. It's taking a little while. Okay, I'll pull it up later. Then we talked Duke Blue Devils and NC State. We were on the under Friday in that NC State loss at Clemson. And NC State looked awful in that game. And then Duke bouncing back from its loss at Wake Forest. But that was Duke's first and only true road game of the year, and they look bad. But this is another spot where all the money is coming in on NC State. Let me pull it back up here. We have NC State with 96% of the cash on the spread, 63% of tickets, and the market moving towards Duke. What are your thoughts here?
Say that it's moving towards Duke, even with the money coming in on the other side?
Yeah.
Okay, so I already have a bet on Duke in the first half here. Whether or not I was going to give it out or not, I wasn't sure, but I just did, so it doesn't matter now. Duke right now, they're putting up 73.9 points per game. It's 147th. They're allowing 60.9 points per game. That's good for 24th. They've been up and down, inconsistent. Roach has been inconsistent. A lot of their players I expected to see more out of have been inconsistent. NC State came out hot early, but their 2 conference games that they started with, Pitt and Miami, they lost. They got the win in conference against Louisville right before Christmas break. But then they came back out again against Clemson and shit sheets. Now, this is a good Clemson team. I think we're talking about them later. Good Clemson basketball team, but their defense, NC State's defense has just been lackluster over and over again, especially in these conference games. Jakravion Smith, he's been great. He's leading the team offensive wise. NC State's been good on offense. I just think that this is a Duke team that, if they're going to prove who they are, this is a spot where Duke needs to step up on the road here in this game against NC State. And I got it when I got it early. Let me pull up. I know the line's moved, so I might not give it out as official. I had Duke at -1.5 in the first half. What are we getting right now?
Oh, wow. That's a steal. You must have got that really early.
Yeah, I bet it as soon as it came out.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, it's 2 right now. So sorry, I was so 1.5. It opened up at Pinnacle. Let's see what Bet Online opened it up. Bet Online opened it up. Bet Online opened it at -2 first half and moved it to 2.5.
Okay, so there are 2.5s out there, but there's no more. But if there's a 2, I'll take that. But
yeah,
I'm not going to go to a 2.5.
I can get you the 2 right now.
Yeah, Slow Jam said everybody beats Louisville, right? Everybody beats Louisville. That's NC State's only conference win right now. But this is a good NC State team. They can put up points, and they've got experience. They got a lot of experience on the court.
All right, so Dabby moving here. Cab on Duke. First half -2, -111. I'm going to stay off this because I just would like Duke to prove it on the road. Once we see them do that, then I'll be a little more comfortable. All right, let's move on. Next up, and we just started talking about this game, so you didn't miss much. Iowa State Cyclones 10-2, 1-0 in the Big 12 at Oklahoma Sooners 9-4, 0-1 Big 12. Iowa State, of course, coming off the big win at home over Baylor as 2-point dogs, but Oklahoma's 76-9 loss at home versus Texas, I thought still was impressive as well. So let's take a look again here just to refresh what the line situation is here. We have Iowa State opening up at +3.5. Remember, they got to +4.5 immediately. And we saw that the bigger bets have come in on Oklahoma, but they're down to +3. Let's see what Bet Online did to it. Bet Online opened them 3 and did the same thing. Got up to 4 and back to 3. Total wise, opened up at 125.5, now at 125 at Bet Online. At Pinnacle, it's at 124.5 up to 126. And then cash wise, we know that the bets have come in on 57% of the tickets, 73% of the cash on Oklahoma, but the line moving back to Iowa State. So take it away for us here, Cabby. Iowa State Cyclones, Oklahoma Sooners.
Yeah, for sure. So Iowa State here, both these teams, you'll see they struggle on the offensive side. Iowa State's putting up 71.4 points per game. Oklahoma's 69 points per game. That's for Iowa State. That's 193rd in the country. Oklahoma, 258. And both these teams can play defense. Iowa State's right now, Iowa State, their scoring defense is only allowing 57.3 points per game. That's good for 9th in the country. It's amazing. On the other side, Oklahoma's only given up 61.4 points per game. That's 35th. Oklahoma's putting up 7.2 threes per game, shooting at 39.4% clip, which is good for 12th in the nation. Sherfield's been fun to watch play, 18.3 points per game for him. He's kind of leading them. One thing with Iowa State, though, is they have a lot of experience with Holmes and Ashuni. And last game, and they played together at St. Bonaventure, too. So it's cool when you got people that move together and stay together. These two guys can play. I think this game is going to be an absolute grind. Either way, if you're looking at a side, the defense is going to be premium, or points are going to come at a premium. Defense is going to be top notch. Oklahoma's favored right here in this one, right now still.
Oklahoma is sitting as we speak 3-point favorites. They got up to 4.5, and
this is one of those where I would see people saying, okay, like you've got an Iowa State team that should be favored and they're not, and Oklahoma's the spread's moving towards them. I get it, but for me, what's tempting here would be to take Iowa State plus points in the first half. I'm not doing it, but that's what would be tempting for me to do. I think this is a grind, and I think points are at a premium. So, giving me points with the team that, might be a little bit better. I know it's a tough road environment, and Oklahoma's been good, but I'd lean Iowa State first half with the points.
Yeah, the line history here and where the cash size doesn't help me. I would like to back Oklahoma. I would like to expect Oklahoma to be strong and Iowa State to not be as strong after that huge win. Let's just take a quick look at Iowa State true road games here. And they lose by 19 at Iowa. Remember, you were on Iowa that day. So I mean, do we trust them in these true road spots? Do we expect?
I'm not betting Iowa State here in this spot, but that's where I'd lean. I'd lean heavy with them. Oklahoma is they play so damn slow. Even though they don't put up very many points per game, they're still shooting 50.3% from the floor, which is 9th in the nation. It's just they're averaging 7.2 threes per game. I don't know. Oklahoma is a gross basketball team to watch. Like, they get it done, but they're scrappy, so it's tough. This is a tough one for me.
So what are we have two teams in Duke and Iowa State who went on the road in a true road situation and looked bad. Do we expect a much better performance in their second road game after experiencing it once?
If it was a little closer, maybe. There's been some time between that Iowa game and this game with Oklahoma here. There's been enough time to where it's like, I don't feel like it was something that they might have honed in on. They might have chalked it up as a bad loss. I don't know if it was a closer for Duke. I feel like for me with this one, it's I don't know. I feel like there's more pressure on Duke than there is Iowa State right now.
Johnny Gunn saying, with all the money on OU, the line opened at 3.5 and it's still there. It's moved to 3 in some spots. Yeah, it moved to 4.5 at first, and then it showed like the books were concerned, and then it came back. Topset says this feels like a live bet. I guess I can't. Everything to me is pointing towards I want to back Oklahoma off that tough game against Texas, and I do not believe that Iowa State is nearly as good on the road as they are at home. I would like to back that. And you know what? I think I'm going to back Oklahoma first half. Maybe Iowa State finds themselves at some point. And I think that I want Auburn first half as well. I'm going to take the question marks off of those spots here. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern next up. Penn State Nittany Lions 11-3, 2-1 in the Big Ten. At the Michigan Wolverines 8-5, 2-0 in conference play. We're in Ann Arbor, Michigan for this one. Take a look at the line history for Penn State, Michigan. Let's get it up here. Here we go. We have Michigan opening up as 3-point favorites. They're now 4 points favorites. This total's gone from 139 to 141. We go over to the cash flow here. 4,663 tickets in. 30% of the tickets are on Penn State, but 75% of the cash. Big bets coming in on Penn State, but the market moving towards Michigan. So the market's not helping us here. 56% of the tickets and 80% of the cash on the under, and that's even gone up 2 points. So confusing market analysis. Penn State comes in off its fifth straight win, 83-79 at home versus Iowa on Sunday's 2-point favorites. Michigan snapped their 2-game losing streak by destroying Maryland as a pick'em, 81-46. They were up 44-13 at the half. Take it away for us here. Brandon the Great live show tonight. Yes, big live show tonight. Our national championship show is tonight. So big show. Take it away for us here, Cab, Penn State, Michigan.
That's awesome. I didn't even know we had the live show tonight. I cannot wait. That's good news for me. That's awesome. Who's doing it? You?
No, I'm not. No, just the NCAAF, the Pub Hub guys. So the 4 squads. But we want you for the live bet stream for the national championship on Monday if you're available. So we'd love to have you on that one. But this one is Ragu, Big Boss, C-Mac, and Bobano.
That'll be a good time. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay. This game is another one that's a little tough for me, Jimmy. Penn State, 33rd adjusted offense, 63rd defense. They got a 5-game win streak right here. Last game, Pickett had 26. Funk had 20. They're spreading the ball around. They've got multiple people that can put up points. That's why they're averaging 76 points per game. It's only 106 in the country, but, that's up there. That's above average. Only thing is Dickerson's one of those players who can dominate a game anytime. Anytime we talk about Michigan, that's who you're going to talk about. Last game against Maryland, Dickerson had 32 points and 12 rebounds. And obviously he leads Michigan in scoring. They're putting up 76.3 points a game, which is good for 99th in the country. So they've been good. But what Michigan needs is their guards like Jet Howard to continue to step up. He's been doing good, but they got to have more help around Dickerson. This game feels tough for me. At home, I would only back Michigan against Penn State. This place is going to be fucking electric. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not ready to, even after that last smash spot against Maryland, I'm not ready to get back behind Michigan because they've let me down early in the season.
Yeah, it's and then you see the big bets coming in on Penn State, but the book's not concerned. You have this Jekyll and Hyde Wolverine squad. Penn State's already proven they can go out on the road and play well. They did that in Illinois. So yeah, I'm not interested. There's Sterling Gentry in the house. Welcome back. Nice to have you back in action. Yeah, no, I'm with you. This is not comforting. Let's move on and talk SEC action. Texas A&M Aggies, a team you know very well, opening up their SEC account here at the Florida Gators, 7-6, 0-1. We're at the O'Connell Center in Gainesville. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Over here we have the. Oh, sorry. There we go. We have the Aggies opening up as 7-point dogs, now 6-point dogs. The total opening up at 142.5 dropped all the way down to 139. That's a big drop. Let's take a look and see where the cash lies here. We have just 1,000 tickets in, 1,013, and 43% of tickets, 75% of the cash on Florida, but the market moving on the opposite side. Take it away. Oh, Texas A&M coming off their second straight win, 86-66 at home over Prairie View as 18.5-point favorites on Friday. Florida comes in off its second straight loss and third in 4 games, 61-58 on Wednesday. So they've been off for a full week. They were 5.5-point dogs, so they did cover. Cover that spot against Auburn. Take it away for us, Dabby Cab, Aggies, Gators.
A&M, they've been all right on offense. Radford and Wade Taylor can both score a little bit, but they just, I don't know. Even though they're putting up 75.7 points per game, it seems a little skewed to me. They seem like they struggle. On defense, though, they've been outstanding. Only giving up 68.6 points per game. And their numbers are comparable to Florida's. If you just look at their overall numbers, this game says, oh, you're getting a good amount of points with an all right team in a conference game here, that they seem almost evenly matched. But I'll give you a reason why I don't think they're evenly matched in a second. Florida, 75.1 points per game. They only put up 58 in their last game, which is scary. Reeves, he's been good. He had 14 in the last game, or 15 points, excuse me. But defensively, right about the same as A&M. 66.7 points per game is what they're giving up. What happens here with Florida at home? I don't fucking know. But it's like a switch flips. It's like the whole script flips. At Florida, or at home, Florida is averaging 81 points per game, and they're making 48% of their shots. So it's like you could throw those stats out the window because at home this team can shoot it. Same thing for A&M. They're great defensively. 68.6 points per game, but on the road, they're giving up close to 80 points a game. So defense falters for A&M on the road. At home, Florida's extremely comfortable. I understand why the spread's where it is. I'm off this game.
Yeah, not getting an angle I can find that I'm comfortable with here. We do have a question from Rob Free. Going back to our last game, the Penn State Michigan game. He says any team that has good guard play can outright beat Michigan. This is year 2. He's been saying this. He says, does Penn State have a good backcourt? Can you answer that?
Yes, they do. Very good. Very good. Yeah. And I think he might have found a hole in that for Michigan right there. Penn State's backcourt's very good.
All right. There you go. Now we move on to 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Number 4 ranked UConn Huskies, 14-1, 3-1 in the Big East at the Providence Friars, 12-3, undefeated in Big East play. Amica Mutual Pavilion in Providence, Rhode Island. Let's take a look at the line history. And our very own Nasty Nate will be at this basketball game this evening. UConn Providence. That'd be fucking fun, dude.
I know.
Let's see what we are dealing with here, line history-wise. This opened up with UConn 5.5-point favorites, dipped to 5 at one point, back to 5.5. Totals-wise, opened up at 142, has not moved. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. Very curious to see if there's a thought of a comeback after their first loss of the season for UConn. Come on, where the hell is the line history here? Why can't I find it? UConn, God damn, let me see. It's taking, sorry about this. Oh, there it is. We have 1,875 tickets in, 65% of the tickets and 92% of the cash on Providence. Wow. So not expecting UConn to bounce back off its first loss of the season, 83-73 at Xavier as 2.5-point favorites. Providence coming in off its 7th straight win, 74-59 at DePaul on Sunday, 5.5-point favorites. Mike M says, I love Providence, but UConn bounce back spot. Picks from Dave, Providence, for a nasty night.
That's what, I was laughing at that.
Okay, take it away. Take it away, Dabby. UConn, Providence.
Okay, so I was on UConn first half and full game. That last game that they lost, first half was exciting because they hit a 3 at the buzzer to cover it. So I split with them. I think that they should be chomping at the bit to get back out at a court that they know is going to be electric. They know that this is going to be a tough place to play. Both teams can score. UConn is putting up 82.3 points per game, led by Sonogo. He's a lot of fun. Sonogo's a lot of fun to watch play. He had 18 points, 6 rebounds last game. Defensively, UConn's given up 60.7 points per game, so they're good there. Providence, they're scoring 80.2 points per game. They've got Devin Carter. He's been a lot of fun. This team is good. I think Providence has been very undervalued this season. That being said, I'm still ready to go against them here. Defensively, Providence is giving up 67.7 points per game. They're hot. They've won 7 straight. They've won 8 straight at home. Providence has scoring over 87 points per game at home this year. What it comes down to for me, and I've said this before, even after the last loss, even if they lose this game, I think UConn's one of the best teams in the country. I genuinely do. They're coming off a loss here, so I think they should be chomping at the bit. I got -2.5 in the first half with them. That's where it's at. I think Providence has the better coach. UConn has the better team.
Let's see what we can get you for UConn first half. We get you -2.5, -110.
Let's roll.
All right. I'm not going to go up against the Sharps here. Obviously, I am like you guys thinking, wow, this is a great chance for UConn to bounce back. But if the Sharps are saying, and you kind of intimated the same thing, that Providence is undervalued and better than they expect, then I don't want to go up against it. There's Noli Nose in the house. Noli Nose looking at the under in this one. Let's just go take a once over again on what we're dealing with here from a total scenario and see where the money has gone. Noli Nose looking at the under. This total has gone from, it has not moved. Sitting at 140. It was juiced a bit, but it's come back. And do we have any information on? No, we don't. We just know that 75% of tickets are on the over and it's not moved. And this is an angry UConn squad. What do you think of that under?
Oh, if Noli endorses it, I wouldn't look any other way. I like the under here. I think, like I said, both these teams are good defensively. I know they're great on offense, and everybody's going to talk about that, but they're also both good on defense. UConn's giving up 60.7 points per game. Providence is giving up 67.7. So both these teams can play defense.
Yeah, and seeing 75% of the tickets from the early count being on the over and the line not moving really makes you believe that under is in play. I'm interested, Noli. I think I might run with it with you. Cabby on Connecticut, first half -2.5. Rob Free says, I can see UConn winning, but Providence covering. All right, let's roll on. Next up for us, the Horned Frogs. Doing it in multiple sports. These Horned Frogs, 12-1, 1-0 in the Big 12. At the number 19th ranked Baylor Bears, 10-3, 0-1. We're in Waco for this. Let's take a look at the line history here for this Baylor spot. We have Baylor opening up as 5.5-point favorites. They're now 6-point favorites. This total opening up at 141, shot up to 144. Take a look at the cash flow for this. We have 2,230 tickets in. 32% of the tickets, 44% of the cash on Baylor. Interesting. 58% of tickets on the under, but it's flying up. TCU coming in off their 10th straight win, 67-61 at home over Texas Tech on Saturday is 6-point favorites. Baylor had their 5-game winning streak snapped at 77-62 loss at Iowa State on Saturday night as 2-point favorites. This got to be an angry Baylor squad. Looking forward to hear your breakdown of this one. T-Mac looking Baylor first half. That makes sense to me. Take it away for us, Dabby. TCU, Baylor.
So first off, with this TCU team, they've been just like I said, Providence was undervalued. TCU has been undervalued after they lost that first game to Northwestern State, where they were up by not first game, but their first loss to Northwestern State. They blew the 12-point lead, and it was brutal. But since then, they've won 10 straight. In those 10, they've also beat teams Iowa, Utah, Texas Tech. So they've got good wins in there. Mike Miles Jr. has been a blast to watch play for this TCU team. He put up 23 versus Tech last game. Here's my thing with Baylor. Even though Cryer is their third leading scorer, they need him back. He's been on concussion protocol. He's questionable. I don't have an answer right now. Maybe somebody in the chat or you can find one. I don't know if he's coming back this game or not. Flagler's been good, and their freshman guard, Keontae George, has been good also. He's stepping up right now, but they need Cryer back to help facilitate the offense, even though he's not one of their, I guess he is their third top scorer, but they need him back in the lineup. You'll notice this TCU team also, they're going to be bigger. They're going to be a bigger team on the court, just size-wise. I'm a little shocked the line's all the way up at 6. I know Baylor should be favored here, but I don't know if they should be favored by 6.
I feel like this is a Baylor first half spot. I do. I just think this is an angry group after getting beaten up badly at Iowa State. We know how tough it is to play at Iowa State. They have a real home court advantage. Now they come home against a rival, in-state rival. I mean, I feel like this is a perfect early bounce back spot. But you're saying that Cryer needs to be there?
If Cryer's in, then yeah, I love Baylor in first half also. But he's important. So he's been out for concussion protocol. I know he's questionable for today. So I would think he was going to be back in today. I would think he's going to be back in, but I don't have confirmation on that.
You have a better chance at home, obviously, for these guys to return. I still like Baylor first half. I feel like the market might be indicating that he's in the lineup. But I'm going to move on Baylor first half. Billy Friedrich, my friend, I did look into the shitty situation that you're in, being owed money in the MMA pools, and I hated learning about it. I knew nothing about it when you brought it up to us, but as a friend of mine, I wanted to see what the hell was going on, so I looked into it. And
you'll get lost. I got lost in that Twitter. That MMA Twitter, I stayed up one night for like 3 hours after I was done capping reading.
I did that same thing. Like 2 nights ago. Yeah, just for hours. I was like, what am I doing here? Yeah. But I hated hearing about it, and I hate hearing that one of our guys got screwed over by it. So I'm really sorry to hear that. And this is a really fraudulent industry. And the main thing that we are trying to do at Pub Sports is to show the transparency and the honesty and create a place that doesn't have any of it. I mean, I couldn't believe the industry when I got into it. I was just completely blown away, at the fraudulence and the lying and the selling and it's like these guys just want to sneak in through your window and steal your fucking wallet. So I'm sorry that happened to you. And on another note, we're paying out our contest at the end of this week. So there's a multiple thousands of dollars going to our colleagues, and we're going to continue to do that. So, but and we'll try to be kind of a fucking bastion here of legitimacy as a company. Baylor first half I'm looking at, and again, Billy, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. Billy Friedrich's a half game out of the Cappers contest money. There you go. Stimmy, of course. Sounds like the mother of my kids.
God.
All right, let's move on. Next up for us at 9 p.m. Eastern, Wake Forest Demon Deacons 10-4, 2-1 in the ACC at North Carolina Tar Heels 9-5, 1-2 in the ACC. We're at Deanie Smith Center in Chapel Hill. Let's get to work here and see what we are dealing with. The Tar Heels, preseason number 1, now unranked. I love it. North Carolina opening up as 10-point favorites. They got up to 10.5. They're back at 10 from a total standpoint. Opened up at 150. Now it's at 152.5. Let's go over to the cash flow for this one. Wake, North Carolina. 68% of tickets and 99% of the cash on Wake Forest. We don't have a total, anything for the total to help us. Wake Forest comes in off their second straight win, 77-75 at home over Virginia Tech on Saturday's 1-point dogs. North Carolina had their 4-game winning streak snapped in a 76-74 loss at Pittsburgh on Friday as 6-point favorites. Take it away for us, Dabby Cab. Wake Forest, North Carolina.
Man, some of these first halves I've gotten in and gotten out, luckily, on that. I was on North Carolina in that game first half, and they cashed, and then shit sheets in the second half and lost. Wake Forest, they're coming off 2 big home wins, Virginia Tech and Duke. But on the road this year so far, 1-2. They've got the nation's 115th ranked offense. Tyree Appleby is a blast. If you haven't watched him play, you need to do it. The guard for Wake Forest, he's a lot of fun to watch play. UNC on the other side, with all their struggles, they still rank 30th in scoring. They're going to have a huge size advantage here with Armando Bacot down low. Bacot, he's getting more and more healthy as we go. Averaging 18.5 points per game, 11.2 rebounds right now. But what we have with UNC is a depth issue. I don't understand. The spread, it kind of scares me. I don't see where they're getting off going all the way up to double digits with it. UNC's got 5 players who average over 31 minutes per game, which is a fuck ton. And the fact that they have 5 people averaging that many minutes per game shows their depth issue. If they get in any foul trouble, like any foul trouble at all, that's going to be a huge problem. For all those reasons, I would only look Wake Forest, but I haven't bet it just because and it's 10.5 some places. The fact that they're showing 10.5 on, like, damn, I want to bet Wake Forest here, but I haven't done it yet.
I wouldn't do it. Not that we need to back North Carolina, but you see a public dog like Wake Forest and the market not moving towards that public dog, then I think that you'll, in the long run, be better off just staying off.
Yeah, it's like my gut tells me don't even think about betting this game. The numbers tell me to jump all over Wake Forest. My gut says stay the fuck away. Just
like Coin saying, Wise line froze with all the Wake action. That's it. Eddie Euler looking at the over. Our guy Sterling Gentry on Tulane -7.5 first half. Also UNC Wilmington -5.5 first half. Richmond -4.5 first half. Winthrop -3.5 first half. Longwood -3.5 first half for our guy Sterling Gentry. I'll copy and paste all that. Sterling, thank you for sharing that with us. Grab it here. All right. So let's move on. Rob Free saying that UNC can't be trusted to lay 10. That line's insane. Don't really trust Wake Forest in this spot. Robert Franklin also looking at the over here. There's more looks from Sterling. Copy and paste that. Okay. Let's move on. Clemson Tigers. We spoke of them a little earlier. 11-3, undefeated in the ACC. At Virginia Tech Hokies, 11-3, but 1-2 in the ACC. We're in Blacksburg for this one. Let's take a look at the line history for Clemson and V Tech. We have Virginia Tech opening up as 6-point favorites. That's where it stands right now. It's 6 cents of juice moved towards them. Curious to see what BetOnline did on this one. BetOnline opened at 5.5, so it's now 6.5. From a totals standpoint, this opened up at 139.5. It's dropped 2 points to 137. I'm undefeated in my unders on Clemson, but I haven't moved on all of them. Here, it's 2.5 points in that direction. Let's take a look at the cash flow. 75% of tickets on the under. We don't have a cash flow, but we know the market moving towards that. 38% of tickets and 51% of cash on VTech. So Clemson public back ticket-wise, but not cash-wise. Johnny Gunn's looking at Virginia Tech. I get it. Coming off their second straight loss, 77-75 at Wake Forest on Saturday's 1-point favorites coming home. Clemson comes in off its third straight win, 78-64 at home over NC State on Friday as 2.5-point favorites. Take it away for us here. Tabby Cab, Clemson, VTech.
Yeah, Clemson, I felt like Clemson would be a public dog here. Clemson's been outstanding. If you look at what they've done this season, 11-3, and 2 of those 3 losses have come by the 3 points or fewer, which is great. Not only that, they smashed Wake Forest, they smashed North Carolina State, they beat Georgia Tech, who's not a very good team, by 13. Tyson, they're big, their center, he's coming off a 31-point game where he had 15 rebounds also. They're led by a guard, Chase Hunter, who's averaging 14.6 points per game. One of the things in this that I think the numbers lead me towards understanding this public dog is Virginia Tech doesn't have a ton of size, which that's going to be a problem coming out against Clemson because it's not just Tyson. They've got PJ Hall down low also. They've got 2 big. They've got 2 bigs that are good and can play. So with Virginia Tech, they're coming off the back-to-back losses versus Boston College and Wake Forest. And with maybe a possible front court disadvantage, I could only lean with the dog here. I don't know what warrants the full 6 points, but I haven't bet this one either. There's something like this one in the North Carolina game, like something just says like, don't do it unless you're going to back the favorite, which is, I'm not going to do that either. So I'm off.
Huh. Yeah, and Clemson's proven that they can get on the road and play well. They lost to South Carolina early in the year, but they beat Georgia Tech badly. But you were saying Georgia Tech weak here. You're right, Tyson coming off that 31-15 game versus NC State. I lean towards Virginia Tech. Coming off 2 losses on the road, get to come back home and need to get right in conference. And, and I feel like the market is telling us that Virginia Tech is the side. But Clemson's playing good basketball. I can understand the hesitancy. And I'm okay with the hesitancy. I'm going to put a question mark beside V-Tech here. V-Tech. Look at that. Razor sharp picks in that pick 5 he gave out. Just needs the 4 or the 8 in race 4 and then has them all for race 5. Look at that. Razor gave that out here on the show. A $96 pick 5. I'm going to pop that. Great job. And don't forget here, Friday nights, Dabby Cab and Razor Sharp Picks live bet stream. It looks like it's going to be Brooklyn Pelicans, but we did lose Williamson to an injury. But still, any time to watch in Brooklyn right now is enjoyable. Rob Free leaning towards Clemson. All right, let's talk about the final game here. The Illinois Fighting Illini, 9-4, 0-2 in conference in Big Ten play. First Northwestern Wildcats, 10-3, 1-1. We're in Evanston, Illinois for this one. Take a look at the line history here for this one. I'm leaning towards VTech first half. If the size takes over, it would be, in the long run here, but I won't move on it yet. Let's get this Illinois Northwestern spot. This opening up with Illinois as 2.5-point favorites. They got up to 4. It's sitting now at 3.5. From a total side of things, this opened up at 131.5. It's now at 134.5. And we go over to the cash flow for this one. 37% of the tickets, similar to the Virginia Tech game, 37% of the tickets, 51% of the cash on Northwestern. But we did see the market move towards Illinois early and kind of come back a little bit. No help here for the total. Illinois coming off its second win in 3 games, 85-52 at home over Bethune-Cookman on Thursday. It's 30-point favorites. Northwestern had their 5-game winning streak snapped in a 73-57 loss at home to Ohio State on Sunday. It's 2-point dogs. That was embarrassing. I feel like they come out strong here. Lee Davis also on Northwestern. Take it away here, Dabby Cab, our last game on the board, Illinois Northwestern.
Yeah, and I do have. Usually I know I don't. I have one. I'll give out a bet for another game if that's cool when we're done with
Absolutely.
this one. Illinois, right here, they're scoring 109.1 points per 100 possessions, which is good for 48th in the nation. They're shooting 46.5%. That's good for 88th. Giving up 91.9 points per 100 possessions. That's good for 27th. So they're great on the defensive side. Northwestern also very good on the defensive side. They're giving up 88.6 points per 100 possessions, which is 9th. So both these teams can really play defense. Northwestern is one of the best defensive teams in the country, actually. With that being said, numbers-wise, I was on Ohio State first half against Northwestern, and they only put up 17 points. It was fucking glorious. I had the money line at like minus 120, 122, and Northwestern only scored 17 points. So it was wonderful. I agree that they have some bounce back here because they have to. There's absolutely no way that they shot 28.4% against Ohio State. There's just no way they do that again. But even with that bounce back here, I've already taken Illinois in the first half here. This is just, I got minus 0.5 point. I think it's at 1.5 now, which I still endorse. You're just asking me to lay a bucket with a team who I think is, much better. I know that Northwestern's a very hard place to play, and in conference play, they're going to pull off wins, and they play an electric defense. I think because of what Illinois has been doing, Illinois has been up and down this year, and I think we're getting a buy low opportunity on them here. So I took Illinois in the first half.
I can only get you a 2.
Oh, damn.
And also Pinnacle has juiced it to minus 115. So if you switch that around, Pinnacle is giving you the best line on Northwestern first half. And that is a red flag for Pete if you like Northwestern here, which I was leaning towards before your breakdown. Do you want the -2 at minus 105?
Yeah, I mean, I guess because it would be the difference in a push if it landed right on it, and that'd be a dumb reason to stay off for an official pick, I guess. So yeah, I'll still take it.
Well, I will take it off here. The last time that happened was you got me off of the spot UCLA in against the Terps.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was a
good game. That was fun.
It was wild. You went against the Sharps in that one. Okay, and then before we review all of Cabby's action, you have a special extra spot that you want to add. Let us know.
Yeah. We kind of touched on it. Miami, Georgia Tech here. I kind of touched on Georgia Tech not being a very good team. Miami on the road. They've won 8 straight this season. And then going back, they've won 7 straight ACC road games. Isaiah Wong is one of the best players in the country. End of story. He's an absolute electric, fun basketball player to watch play. I've been enjoying watching him for the past 2 years. Northwestern, they're 2-6 last 8 at home, and 2-5 last 7 versus Big Ten. This is just a Miami team that is red hot. The Hurricanes, they're led by, like I said, one of the most experienced players in college basketball, which makes me comfortable with backing them here. I took Miami minus 3.5 in the first half. This Miami team, if you look at some of their numbers, what is that? Let me ignore that. Sorry about that.
That's another spot where if you want, we know how sharp Pinnacle is. They've moved Miami to first half to 4, while all the other books are at 3.5.
Really?
Yeah, it tells me it's probably a good spot.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So when you look at the Yellow Jackets, they're facing a Miami defense that's 104th in adjusted efficiency. This is, I know Miami's defense isn't necessarily their strength, but with how good Miami is in the paint and Isaiah Wong, he finished last game fine, but he started off very, very, very slow. He only had a couple points in the first half. And I think he gets after it early this game. I think Wong puts up points early. So yeah, I got Miami first half minus 3.5.
The only concern is there's 3,396 tickets in. 87% of the tickets and 94% of the cash is on Miami. So
I don't like
nobody on the other side. But you see Pinnacle showing concern, moving it to 4 in the first half is a good sign. So Miami minus 3.5, minus 110 for Cab. Gregory Simmons saying Illinois not the same on the road, and they're 0-2 in Big Ten. I wonder if that adds, but I'm comfortable staying off a spot where Cab's on the other side. That's worked for me. All right, let's review all action here in NCAA basketball. We have, for me, I'm on Auburn first half. I'm going to be on Auburn first half. I haven't made any of these bets yet. Cab's on Duke first half minus 2. I'm going to be on Oklahoma first half as well. I'll see what line I get to here shortly. Penn State, Michigan, we stayed off. Texas A&M, Florida, we stayed off. Cabs on UConn first half minus 2.5, minus 110. I am going to roll with Noli Knows on the under in UConn Providence. I'm going to be on Baylor first half. Wake Forest, North Carolina, we stayed off. And I'm going to be on Virginia Tech for, wow, I've got a lot of college basketball. I'll be on Virginia.
Yeah, I'm writing it all down here too with your action. So I have yours too. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. I'll tweet it out here as soon as I bet it. Cabs also in Illinois, first half minus 2. And this is a big spot for them, 0-10 in conference. It's a big game for them. And then Cab is on Miami, first half minus 3.5 at minus 1.
And we have a lot of action.
Yeah, it's fun. It's going to make it fun because I don't have much in NBA. And I think I do in NHL now, but that's a lot of fun. Cab, thanks for fighting hard to be able to get your internet right to roll with us. You can catch Cab here Wednesdays and Thursdays, so he'll be back in action with us here tomorrow. He also got some big shows ahead of him. So you're going to catch Cab on Friday night, as we said already, with the big it was going to be bigger when Zion was healthy, but still Brooklyn Pelicans, and we know what the Pelicanos record is without Zion and Ingram. On Saturday, in the SEC, Kentucky Wildcats at Alabama Crimson Tide. What a huge game in the SEC that'll be in Tuscaloosa. That's Saturday. That's at 12:45 p.m. So the NCAA Pub will be before that, and then there'll be a little break, and then Cab will be live bet streaming Kentucky, Alabama, Crimson Tide. So then Sunday, I'm doing the Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers game, which we can only pray will have a meaning, or we can only pray that the Lions have a chance to get in just for fun. And then on Monday, the national championship game, Dabby Cab, I hope you can jump on with us for the national championship game live.
I will. Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
That'll be a lot of fun. Okay. There you have it. Dabby Cab locked in here. I'll have his record back up for tomorrow. With the amount of time that I had to put into football yesterday, and then with this, I just didn't have enough time to get it all done. But I'll have it up for tomorrow. Cab, any last words for the Cappers here supporting the show?
Oh, man, you guys out there. Mike M., that pimp slap play of the day. That's my guy right there. He's been hopping on the live streams with us, cashing just some huge. He put some fun parlays together, like a plus 4,400, and cashed it the other night live with us. Yeah, that was some fun. I know Nate got on it too. Shout out Nasty Nate, Mr. Trifecta. But, man, Nuke Worker, Real Deal Prime, we got the best damn chat. Razor, my guy, be with him Friday. And you, Jimmy, you brought us all together, put us up here, man. So thank you, and thank you guys in the chat. I look forward to tomorrow and getting some more money.
Yeah, man. Get that cash. There he is. Dabra Cadabra. All right, let's review all action here on today's show. Again, in NFL, I've only moved on the Tennessee Titans plus 6.5, but there's obviously more information coming in. So, but the Devils Red Wings, let's see what that is right now. Under 6.5 is at a pick 'em. I have interest in it. That was TJ's gift. He's 14-2 in these gifts. Unbelievable record. I like the Lightning first period. I like what I see from the Lightning. Depending on what trends you pay attention to, the Wild beat the Lightning over and over and over again in Minnesota. But 4 straight wins for the Lightning, healthy, playing really good hockey. And the Wild have been off. They've been off since Saturday night. So they've been off since New Year's Eve. No, Lee, I'm just going to take Tampa Bay first period, but there are cappers on Minnesota full game. I almost moved on Minnesota full game. But I'm telling you, we went over the cap situation. The Bruins and the Lightning right now are at their peak. And now is the time really to back them. It may not be come playoff time when all these other teams reload with the cap space that they have available. So, and then in the late game, I got to figure out what to do with the Stars here. I'm leaning towards first period minus half. That's what I'm leaning towards. But I think I'm going to move on that. Stars first period minus a half. It's second half of a back-to-back, and I think they have their dads with them. I think they just come out rolling after that loss last night where they didn't play very well against the Kings. Then in NBA, LJ's on the Grizzlies first half minus 4 and Jaren Jackson over 2.5 blocks. I'm moving on the under in Phoenix, Cleveland. I hope it hasn't dropped too much more. LJ's on the Cavs first quarter minus 1.5 minus 108. I have some interest in the Magic. I could easily let that go. LJ's on the first half over 118.5 in Indiana, Philadelphia. He's on the Knicks first quarter minus 3, first half minus 5. We stayed off Bucks, Raptors. LJ's on Brooklyn, Chicago first quarter over 61 at minus 105, and Claxton 3 blocks or more at plus 175. That's his best bet of the day. He's on the Timberwolves first half money line plus 105. KPJ, Kevin Porter Jr. over 30.5 points, rebounds, and assists at minus 118. And Kadesh says let the Magic go. Shea is playing. Okay, thank you, Kadesh. I'll do that then. I'll do that here. It's funny that they put up 150 against the Celtics. This NBA is such a wild sport, and I got to get right. Let me move that off. Okay, KD, I dropped that for possible action here. LJ's on the Warriors first quarter minus 2. I like that. Look, I think I'm going to roll with that. Heat Lakers, we stayed off. LJ's on the Kings first half, minus 106. And I'm going to move on the first half over in Atlanta, Sacramento. And that is today's show. Our man Jose has construction going on at his place, so the Say Hey Plays of the Day starting 2023 will begin tomorrow. But thank you, Jose, for all the hard work you do producing and hosting and everything that you do for us. Thank you, Jose. Thank you to all you guys in the chat. Our first show of 2023 in the books. And Bo Jackson with Lightning can become 6-1-0 against Central Division this season. Their next Central Division opponent is the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg Jets sums to 61. Bo knows. AOD, Kadesh, James S., North Ender, Mike M., Billy Friedrich, Robert Franklin, Lee Davis, the Nuke Worker, Real Deal Prime, Razor, Sharp Picks. I'm going to go over to the Tampa Bay horse races right now and cheer you on. Robert Franklin also on Arc Pine Bluff, Alabama State, under 141. Johnny Guns, T-Mac, Ross Pitts, Gregory Simmons, Eddie Euler, Rob Free, Slow Jams, Arsenal. Thank you guys all so much. Coin. Thank you for your support. Jake Burns, Sterling Gentry Jr. Let's go out there and get that cash, man. Go out there, get it. Let's get the year started with glory. Dan Kelly, we love you. On behalf of all of us here at Pub Sports Radio, we have a huge week, huge year ahead of us. And thank you guys for your continued support. It means the world to us. So on behalf of Jeff Slaughter, Jose Paquette, and all of us here at Pub Sports Radio, let's go out there and get the fucking money. Plus monies. Leche. Hey, los bookmakers.